You.
Creation live. What's going on, guys?
What's happening, fellas? What's the word?
Guys,
I'm like in a video.
Am I good? Am I good? Am I coming through good? I was having some issues a little earlier.
Should I just drop this?
maybe my
Hey.
let's see what's going on here. Can't hear
What happened?
nothing.
What's the issue?
I
What's
think
the
I'm
issue?
plugged in.
You guys not hearing me?
I can hear you, Kevin, if you can hear me,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I heard both of you guys.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I
That
hear
means
loud
your
and
ears
clear.
work. Yeah.
What happened with that?
What up? What up?
What trouble was Ann having? What happened?
Hmm?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much at all.
I'm not hearing it at all.
What it? Yeah, well, I heard him when he first started, but then he said, "Oh, hold on," and he just.
Oh yeah. No, then that means we're all good. It sounds like you hear me, he hears us, we, etc. So that's good. That's good. Yeah. What's up?
Cool.
Yeah. No, I just been writing. That's all, man.
Nice, man. Nice.
Trying to also, rein in the damage out there in the world. Like, you know how sometimes like you just have those days or those weeks where like everybody under the sun is like depressed and all screwed up. So they're coming to you or whatever. And you're also like, dude, I'm not doing great myself, yo. And the only people
listen, I'm trying to be strong for myself right now, bro. Like,
that's what I mean. I'm like,
hard.
At a certain point I was like, dude, I've been a excess empath for way too long. And now I'm starting to be like, maybe I should just, I hate to be weird sometimes, but be like, maybe I should just ignore other people's sorrows. Like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I mean,
get out of my face.
You gotta. Hey, yo, back the fuck up, bro.
Well, it's more like, I mean, the thing is, man, for years and years and years and years, I've had to endure so much. And now, like, the last straw was like the last girlfriend. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't do it anymore. Like, I'm literally exhausted. And part of it is like, dude, I'm writing about this one dragon character. He's exhausted. You know what I mean?
Oh,
he's the old warrior, bro. He's like 70 years old, and they're like, we got to go back into the fray. And he's like, you know what? I'm really disappointed in all of this.
It's like, fuck that, I'm done. Like,
yeah,
he's too many dances.
Yeah, but he also feels bad, bro. Like, in other words, it'd be like if you say it was you and your direct family, but then so let's say, I don't really know your situation, obviously. Let's say your girlfriend's family and they were like all the time, and then finally like 25 years, 30 years have gone by, and you're finally like, you know what, just like, we're too old for this anymore. Like, either you were our friends, we were allies, or we were enemies from the beginning, so get out of my face.
Shit. Yeah, man. What's the old one's name?
Leijimoto.
Jesus Christ.
Did I tell you enough about him all in one name? Did I not?
Leijimoto.
Basically, it's a nod to, you should know this, Kev. I'm disappointed in you, son. No, I'm just kidding. You'll understand. Have you heard of Leiji Matsumoto? Dude, son, I'm disappointed in you. Yo, he's the guy who basically was the birth grandfather of anime. No joke. His situation was...
What's the first name? I'm about to look him up right now.
Leiji Matsumoto, and it's like Leiji. But...
my first screen name was Lazy Matsumoto.
Ooh, well, there you go. But Leiji Matsumoto was none other than the kind of grandfather of anime in the sense that he created basically the beginnings of Macross or Macross to some extent, but he created a series called Star Blazers, which was known as Yamato in Japan, but he also did things like Captain Harlock, Galaxy 999, and he may or may not have made a few things. You know what I mean? So like, I'm glad you looked him up, Kevin, because I was just teasing you. Like, I'm disappointed in you, son. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you got to know this guy because he was and anyway, they've made statues of some of his stuff. I saw that Indiegogo bottle too. Indiegogo campaign, guys, everybody out there, Indiegogo, Albatross Junction Albatross. Yeah. If you donate $9,000, they will reverse the title. It'll be Junction Albatross, all for you.
We'll put your name in the title.
That's a special tier.
Special tier, 9,000 or more. Why did I make it 9,000? You know why? Because it's over 9,000. What? 9,000? There's no way that could be right.
Holy shit.
I'm making an old reference there. Like the people who are watching, which to be honest, let's be honest, there might be 5. But anyway, for the people watching, yeah, they probably remember over 9,000 memes. Do you guys have old memes that you guys remember from your day, you young pups?
Old what? Old memes?
Yeah, I was just teasing.
Old meme. That's crazy.
Like, let's do this, Leroy Jenkins.
That was funny for a very long
I have memes
time.
that Kevin drew of me.
Wait, what? You
Yeah.
can't self
like-
me, man.
He
It was pretty funny. It was pretty fucking funny.
That's really narcissistic. No, I'm just teasing. I'm joking.
Like I would draw
That's funny.
Kevin getting killed, and then he would draw me getting killed.
No, that's gravy. Yeah, that's got to be the extra materials for AJ.
Like that's not fucking psychological warfare. You know what I mean?
Oh, dropping some knowledge.
That shit was crazy. It was crazy. We would just come up with the wildest shit, man. And the
Whoa.
funniest thing was, there would just be little balls of paper that are literally just fall. It'll just like you'll be at work and it'll just fall in front of you. And you're like, what is this? And you
What
open
is
it up
this?
and it's like just you getting
It's
fucked
you
up.
being
Yeah, like the psychological warfare started like the first day Kevin started because our dress code wasn't it was casual. So the first day Kevin started, I came in with a suit on. I was the only guy. And
how did you wait? Just really quick to set the tone. Did you know, or you were like, how would I have known?
Well, see, I was on Kevin's like hiring committee, so I knew when he was going to start and all that, and I wanted to it was a place full of women, and I was the only guy, so I knew that whatever I wore, Kevin would look to as, oh, that's what we have to wear.
Yeah.
And so for like 2 or 3 days, I kind of came in like that.
How do you have time to come up with all this nonsense? Jesus, I wish I had so much free time. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think Kevin eventually asked somebody, like, "What's the dress code here?"
Eventually, that first Friday, I was like, "This is fucking bullshit. Like, there's no way you got a suit on and this one has a sweatsuit on. It's not true."
Now that's a good comedy sketch right there. You could totally have someone like, "Why do you keep? Would you come in Hawaiian clothes for it? Isn't today Hawaiian Day?" You're like, "No."
And then the fucking they had this whole big board up with like all these just the full jobs that no one paid attention to. I was like, yo, is this even relevant? Like, what is this list for? Like, what is this up? What's this about? They were like, no, it's just a whiteboard we put up because you were starting on Monday. Like, we're just fucking.
Oh my god! How many things did you like? Seriously, how much time? Man, dang.
It was pretty funny, man. It was pretty funny.
It's
pretty funny.
Well, that's cool. Well, did you guys keep? Wait, hold on. Did you guys keep all those little scraps of?
Hell yeah, I got.
Oh, did you ever put all those up on videos?
No, I need to.
We should. I'm gonna go grab one real quick because it's on my table. Like,
oh, he's got. Oh, see, that's even better. It's not like, yo, I gotta go into the attic. You're like, I got.
That's where that fucking character Monroy Davies came from.
Monroy Davies, explain.
Remember, we had your friend coming. He was a voice actor as well. We were like, we have a character named Monroy Davies. He was like, we explained him to him, but it came about because
I don't remember that you said that, but that's okay.
After a while, fucking Ant would just start saying like, Monroy Davies wants his money, and it'll be me getting fucking curb stomped. I'm like, holy shit, who the fuck? Or it'll be
Monroy Davies.
Where's Monroy Davies' money? And just fucking like
shooting me in the face. I'm like, what the fuck? Episode of,
it was crazy.
I'm not kidding. He should be like the Uber Jabba the Hutt, where you find out about him only like on the last episode, and then it turns out Monroy Davies is like, a key character's cousin, and
some crazy like shit. Yeah, we fucking we always play with the idea of doing like a another kind of like comic called Tony Goomba.
Tony Goomba,
like Anthony, based on it's a character I drew based on Anthony. So I was like, yo, Tony Goomba needs to fight fucking Monroy
Tony
Davies.
Goomba. Don't make me send Tony.
Tony Goomba over here.
I gotta sick the Goomba on you. You
got a fucking satin jacket on, rolled up, sleeves rolled up.
You understand me? You are done. You understand me, punk?
Yeah, don't fucking get Goomba over here.
Don't get the cheese on you. The Goomba cheese. If he Goomba cheeses you, you're gonna be done.
Like, hey, Tony, ridiculous. You know that guy Rufus?
Rufus too, huh? Hey, why not bring in some cannoli and everything, right? Like get in all the Italian tropes, right? It's so funny too because Anthony's Italian and so am I. And now, how about yourself, Kevin? What's your?
Nah, I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So we should get confused for Italian a lot because motherfuckers like, yo, what the fuck are you? Like, what are you?
That's because we're all tough.
In the 80s, and you fucking in the 80s walking around Brooklyn, people like, yo, what are you? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of my face, bro.
Everybody was so friendly. Right?
But everyone was so loving, man. Let me tell you.
I know. I bet if you think about it too, man. Imagine if all the Disney movies came out like in the 60s and 70s. You think all the gangsters would be that tough now? No, I'm just teasing you.
That should be funny. Hell, that'd be fucking crazy.
It should be funny. They should make a movie where they're like gangsters forced to hang out with Disney princesses.
That'd be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sick.
No,
I would watch it. I'll be all in. I'll be all in.
It might be it would be dumb funny. You know what I mean?
Nah, it'd be good. It'd be good.
Yeah.
It'd be good, man. It'd be good. I'm already a fan of that shit.
I think I like Diamond Dragons better. I'll stick with that. But
that was a pro segue.
Ooh, segue. Speaking of segue, so then going back to these character that Anthony has on the screen for the viewers. So I believe that's Donovan. I see mostly in what we'll almost call the mid foreground, but then I don't know who's in the super foreground, like way down, and then the guy who's in the background.
That's Dob. Dob's got all the the little mechanisms on his face and on his it looks like he has one monocle on, but that's like some that's I don't know if you were there when Ed was describing like this toolkit that kind of like morphs in anything you need, anything you want. So he has a case, and when it opens up, it's almost like Iron Man, like pieces just crawl on him and just do what he needs to do. It's pretty sick.
That's cool. Those are cool things. Dope. Like that's the thing. That's really cool things that like obviously you guys have the ability and
You're dead. You're dead.
You know, I just realized something, you guys. The artwork, it's pretty much maintained. Like, I mean, you can see the parallels. Like, just look at the framing and look at the color, the usage of the I want to say the lines.
Incredible, bro.
And then you also have the gradient. Did you notice the gradient of blood?
Yakila.
Incredible.
No, it's Yakila. Yakila.
And look, I think I'm wearing like a shirt. Is it like an A for? It's got like little wings.
A for
on it?
Anthony.
Like I'm dying.
A for Angels and Anthony.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? Now wait, you drew that and you're saying it's interesting? Do you know how?
No, this is one I got from Kevin. Because this is me. I should find the rest of them because I don't know if I have them or Kevin has the ones of him. But
yeah, the only thing
I got them all on a clipboard.
The only thing I'm disappointed in is either A, you should have just used your like YOUR and that's it, or you should have had the apostrophe in there. But either way, I'm disappointed. I'm just kidding.
Fucking crazy, man. It was fucking crazy.
The actual level of writing ability on that, Kev, you have a couple demerits.
What did it say? What did it say? I didn't. What did it say? Hold it back up.
Oh no, awesome. Dude, I was just pulling your leg.
Oh.
Love you, killer.
Love you, killer.
But that's not the important part. The important part is the death.
Oh, of course. Well, right in the mouth, in the eye. That's how you do it. That's how you do it justice.
Well, that was hardly worth finding because I dropped my pencil. I had to run upstairs. Then I couldn't find the pencil anymore. I was like, I dropped my.
Jesus Christ!
Oh, so it's Armageddon and stuff. Oh my God.
Should not have been carrying everything.
Isn't that sad when COVID-19 has struck you so hard, Kevin and Anthony, that when you drop a pencil, you're like, no,
man. I had a similar conversation this morning, man. Just like
you had a conversation because I have to say this is the first one I've had in about a year.
Serious. And I've been at this desk for a year, bro. Like while the kids are in school, I'm like, it's coming up on a year. Like, holy, what the fuck? And in that year, I've had shoulder surgery.
They were telling me
foot now. It's like what the fuck? Like what the fuck is going on?
And be grateful you guys can have be grateful you have something like you could go to. Like if I've been hurt or whatever. I don't have health insurance. I probably never will. I haven't for 20 years. You know.
That shit is rough. That shit is rough.
No, just keep going.
Fucking just being here, I'm just here, like I'm here, like a doctor's appointment is like a social gathering. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
I went today for my eyes, and I'm like, how's everybody doing? Everybody's good. You're like, how long you been? I'm just fucking yapping. They're like, yo, why are you so fucking lively? I'm not live. I'm like, listen, I'm not lively. I just haven't had human fucking interaction in a year. God damn it. What the fuck?
I got to tell you something for both of you guys. You guys are going to laugh at this too. Like, I've said, I believe in the past to both of you. So it's setting the tone, at least, that I did for some time, about 2.5 years, drive for Uber and Lyft before the pandemic. Right. Mm-hmm. So I was doing a lot of driving, and not that it was tons of money or anything, but, the point was I was doing a lot of driving, and in the areas I would meet all sorts of different people. Anyway, then the pandemic hit, of course, kind of knocked that down. I remember I finally just got back on the freeway for the first time in like months. And it was dawning on me, like I wasn't driving badly or anything like that, but I was just noticing while I'm driving, I'm like, wow, this is the first time in a long time I've been traveling at, ostensibly 65, 75 miles an hour. Do you see what I'm getting at? Like, I was like, it's been a long time since I drove. And my point being is, I can't remember the last time that much time had ever passed with me driving since I was able to drive.
That's
Like,
true.
it's fucking
do you see what I'm
crazy.
getting at? Like, and then some
Fucking
people,
nutty.
it won't matter much to them, but I'm like, I'm getting old, man. Like, I mean, I was like, man, it's been maybe 30 years since I've ever had to feel like, oh, I haven't driven in 6 months. Like, when has that ever happened?
That's never happened. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, yeah. Now I know some people out there don't have cars, and I appreciate that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm literally saying it's a weird thing to be normally at 0 miles an hour or walking at ostensibly 2 to 3, and then just you're already used to your car. You're used to your car, but then 6 months goes by, and you basically go from 0 miles an hour and suddenly up to like 75, and you're like, why do I feel so weird right now? And you're
Fucking
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, my body's like, what the heck is going on, son? I thought you quit all that.
It's wild, man. I remember the first time I got on the road, I realized people just forgot how to fucking drive. It was like
I
dangerous.
didn't
I was like,
forget.
yo, this is fucking dangerous. So, like people were just
Yeah.
bugging out. Oh, they were just impatient and in a
I
rush.
didn't
I guess they were
forget. My body
it was
just didn't
crazy.
want to.
It was wild, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving
Also,
slow as shit.
I used to really enjoy driving, not necessarily for Uber and Lyft, but what I mean is just driving in general, especially when it's like a nice long road. But then I found that I was like much more disinterested.
Yeah, yeah. I could do without it at this point.
Exactly, and I was like, what? Yeah. So we're looking at 2 frames here, basically, right? Too, because we've got Donovan in the foreground of the top frame, but then below it's closer onto what was his name again?
Dobbs.
Dobbs. Yeah. So I don't know, like Anthony, have you ever like told the viewers too about like kind of your process, like you outline it. Obviously, I don't just mean with pencil, but I mean outline the process, like you kind of tell them like, well, first I decide what colors I want, or first I decide what I want, or first I decide the background, or like what is your general like approach when you're deciding to make a new frame? Do you
So this is
you have like a
it starts
procedure
on this thumbnail book.
Mhm.
So this is actually, you're talking a little bit about anime before. This is a manga sketchbook,
Right?
and I got one of these for each of Kevin and I, and this is just every page of Albatross Junction in a little thumbnail.
Right.
We decided
No, because I remember you shared some of those with me, which is they're excellent. Yeah.
So this is page 31, which is as you can see here, it's just these characters kind of walking down the hallway. There's an inset. There's a smaller section where we see them talking, and then there's a close-up of John Dobbs there, and
this is the frame we're looking at.
Yeah, and then it just works into the overall story, where the next page is they're continuing down the hallway where we see all these experiments that have maybe gone wrong or maybe aren't finished yet, and that's kind of what they're starting to talk about here. So then we start to see it happening here, and then this is another finished page that is, I think, being inked by Kevin, or is completely done by Kevin already.
Yeah.
Page 33. I actually think the one you're looking at right here,
because I remember the egg one. I just saw the egg one there. Like I remember those some time ago. I don't remember exactly when.
Yeah, I think this is just one of a few that has to be finished yet. So I basically go from the thumbnail that you see here to the fully penciled page, and then there's a couple choices that we could take from there. We could bring it into digital and do our inks that way, which is a lot of our volume 1 pages have been done that way. Or you could take it from here and actually just ink on the page. So I think Kevin might be working on that right now.
Yeah, I'm finishing this one up.
Inking directly on the
Boom.
page. Let me see.
Oh, I love those. I really love the helmets and the faces there. I just got to mention that. Yeah, I really like those, Kevin. Yeah, you know why too. And again, you have to understand, with me as an outsider and knowing nothing about art, in the sense that I can't draw. Wait, will you hold it up again one more time, real quick? Reason being is not that necessarily there's going to be a lot of viewers, but we'll find out. Hopefully people are supporting it. But look at the difference in all of the faces that were, even though they're obscured by all their masks or whatever, if you knew the characters a little bit, you'd be able to make a distinction. Whereas it'd be another thing if you were like, man, this one looks so much like that other character, I can't tell the difference. But that Kevin, even with the all the masks, thanks Kevin, you can put it back down. I don't want to stop you from drawing. That you can tell who's who. And I could see how that the more things that get obscure the face on a character, or just if they've got big coats on, like because it's a winter, you guys are living in ice, so you expect that most people are not going to be showing off their skin and their bikinis and their true bodies to some extent. Like maybe every now and again you get to see someone with their shirt off, and then you kind of realize, oh, I didn't know he had a tattoo there. I didn't know he had a scar there. But the point is, the more that Kevin has. And also you, right, Anthony? When things are obscuring the faces of your people, it's harder to make a distinction that they're actually the character you want the audience to know, right?
Yeah, and that's like one of the reasons why in that page, which is basically introing those people, I also changed the helmets on each of them. So when we start to focus on one of the characters there, it becomes a little bit easier, hopefully, for the audience to see, oh, this is Bernadette. I could tell because not only, like you said, hopefully I made the faces distinguishable enough, but I also made the outfits distinguishable, and also Kevin colored them on the pages that are actually finished in that sequence. He colored them, and because I actually
yellow,
told Kevin,
green, blue, red.
Right, it's actually like a backstory to why they have different units on, is because they are like kind of scavenging astronaut suits to do this one last trip. They kind of say that in a dialogue. So,
and it makes perfect sense too, to make a distinction that if you were scavenging suits, they would maybe not be all the same unless they were default ones, because they might have all been for individual astronauts at the time. And it does make sense in a futuristic story that they're like, dude, you'd want to make a distinction. Everybody would have like their own style, their own call signs, their own little insignias, so that no matter what, people wouldn't be like, I can't tell if that's Davies or Jenkins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they were like way out there, you'd be like, no, I know who's who just based on not only the, computer data blinking and stuff, but you're like on visual, if you can make line of sight with them, you're like, I got it. I know that's Jensen, or something like that. That's really cool. And I'm just echoing that. I'm lucky in some ways that in Diamond Dragons that I utilize the coloring of each dragon, because they all have different powers. Like fire is more towards red, ice is more towards blue, that people will be able to make that distinction as well, that even if they don't remember the character names super well, they'll be like, oh, that's that one ice dragon, oh, that's that fire. You see what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of make use all those skills
tools
to make it easy to make it easier, as easy as possible for the viewer or the audience to just understand who they're looking at as far as which character.
And I think
TK is here.
Right, I saw TK's. He's
hey,
like,
what's up, man?
Let us know how your surgery went.
Yeah. How you doing? How you doing, man?
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about that the very last stream, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You had surgery yesterday.
I know, we got it right in between, so it's like
TK
we get
has
the
before power, though. I know
he's a bionic man now. TK, right?
T to the mother. Hey!
Ooh, baby, I like it, boy.
Boom.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Recovering well, man.
The bionic stuff, yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly sum that up by saying I think a lot of people don't appreciate the distinctions that need to be made, not only with color schemes, but they don't understand that that's part of the workload that an artist has to take on. I think only you guys would appreciate that in a way that I also do after designing another dragon. Right? But like, think about it. Most people don't think of say Star Wars, and they don't think, oh, what's the color scheme in Star Wars? Isn't it just white and black? And you're like, there's slightly more to it, but kinda, it's like, these distinctions are invisible. You know what I mean? Even like, composing music or whatever after having Amen.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I've always appreciated the scores when the scores have themes for each either like area or character. I've always thought that was dope.
Precisely.
That was real dope.
And that is exactly what's happening, at least, again, not to talk about Diamond Dragons, but that's what I'm doing with that. And I think it's important that people not forget how important music is to the tonality of a scene. Like if you read scenes in a book or chapters in a book, or in a comic book, you might not understand the gravity of the situation quite as well as you think. But then if someone played music with it, they'd be like, oh, now I know why that scene's so dramatic. Like I can feel it bleeding off the page that way. But sometimes it's hard to do that because maybe you're missing that, you know. Yeah.
You know what's a good soundtrack to kind of do work to that I've been listening to the past couple weeks maybe is Wonder Woman 84.
Really?
I think it's got a good soundtrack. Even when I was watching the movie, I was like, I actually like the music on this. So I went and looked it up afterwards, and there's a lot of tracks that I like on it. I just sit there and I kind of like write to it, or I'm working, and there's some sequences where like the music kind of, it must be an action scene in the movie or something.
Oh, I see,
and it kind of makes you work a little faster, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. Up the pace of it.
Yeah, it's funny you guys mentioned too. I've been doing a lot more with actually, I guess I can say it on this. No one's going to find out about it until it actually does happen with certain things. But like, I've been playing a lot more with Bard's situation, we'll say, in the way that the books unfold, because one of his major lines is "music is magic," and Adam loves that line too, and he's the one voicing Bard. And you guys remember him coming on the show?
Yeah,
and everything. Yeah, he's great. But the point being is, like in the beginning, even on my pre-visualization, I show that the Bard's music has magical powers, both figuratively and literally and physically. You know what I mean? So also, why not, to some extent, thinking about the spiritual level of it is like, how often has it been? And I was talking to some people about this, and here's my thought on this, guys. Let's see if TK agrees too. You're in a certain type of mood, whether it's bad, terrible, depressed mood, or extremely happy and elated and things are going well mood. But music can change you to one or the other, not quite at the drop of a hat, but to a point.
Yeah,
what do you guys have to say about that?
Well, I mean, some songs are like nostalgic as hell. Like they
Right.
you can remember a song that, like in like a really emotional time.
It might remind you of your father. You might remind you of your grandmother, your friend, someone who passed away.
Depends what it is.
Whatever.
It could be it could be like a super exciting moment, like the first time you went to like a fucking amusement park. This song was playing, so every time that song comes on, you're like, "Yo, blah blah blah."
Exactly.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, and sometimes it can conjure it up, even if you don't necessarily have a direct connection to the music, in a sense that you're like, "Oh, I remember when I first saw the movie that this music is in," or something. But it's like, it might just be because it's a powerful piece of music. Where you're like, this moves you emotionally and it sways you in the same way the director, not only with thinking of it like the the conductor of a music literally is directing his musicians to do what he needs them to do at the right timing for the tempo. But the director of a film is literally making you watch certain things and trying to be like, even Quentin Tarantino, who was like, well, I like to think of it like if I'm like, okay, now cry, I want you to cry. Okay, and now I want you to like, and now suddenly you hate me because of this thing that I do. Like he talked about it like that, and he makes, even though some people are like, oh, he's this and he's that and the other, he makes a really good point that that's not a new thought process that he had at all. It's something that is just plain how it works. That's why you watch a film and you are affected by it, or you're not. Like if they either direct it effectively and move your emotions, or it's directed poorly and maybe it kind of mildly, you're like, oh, that's a little sad. Or you're like, oh, yay, the good guy got the girl. Like, that's
the fucking worst feeling ever, man. When you invest time to watch a film and it just does nothing for you, but you can see what they were trying to do, and you're like, all right, I'd rather hate a movie completely. At least I'll leave feeling something.
This is a great point, Kevin. I like that line too. I would rather hate a movie viscerally, so that you're just like, okay, I quit on it, rather than go, well, it's gonna get better. Oh, I hope so. And then finally, you're like, oh.
Okay, like, all right, let's go. You guys ready?
Yeah, there's a great line that I heard from someone else, but I'll just say this too. Right, I'm like, oh, well, there's 2 hours I'll never get back.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling ever. That's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah. So, and that's the point. My point is, this is what I'm trying to do, not only with Diamond Dragons, and I'm guaranteed that you and Anthony are trying to do a similar thing. We're not just here to just be like, oh yeah, here, just a bunch of giggles and laughs and a few silliness. You kind of want to be like, I want to make you think. I want to make you feel. I want to make you reflect. You know?
Seriously.
Yes.
Definitely the goal. Definitely the goal.
So let's see what does TK? He said he X-rayed microwave stuck. Ooh, catheters. He's an AI.
Oh, yeah,
he's an. I told you he's a cyborg now.
I am AI fucked up.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. You forgot.
I watched Hateful Eight like 3 times in the past like 2 weeks.
I love that.
Well, he just said he just watched Inglourious Bastards.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hateful Eight is my shit. I love that movie.
When it was snowing, you know, it's like snowing the whole movie in Hateful Eight. So I just was like playing that. I played it like twice in a row at one point.
I still have not seen a lot of Tarantino movies, but I haven't seen Hateful Eight, and I didn't ever see Django Unchained. Not by like, oh, I don't want to see those movies. I have not seen them.
Yeah,
no. And the same happened to me with Harry Potter, which I might have told you guys years ago, some years back when I had first met my now ex-girlfriend. But you know, she's like, "You've never heard of Harry Potter?" I'm like, "Oh no, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen any of it." And at first she was like, "Did you not see it because you hated it or something?" I'm like, no, I'm saying like I literally have not seen anything. I do have a story about it, which I won't go into because these fencing students of mine, I taught at a private girls' school for one of the very first fencing instruction projects that I did, on my own at least, because I used to teach at an academy. But anyway, I guess a Harry Potter movie came out because like I told them to suit up in the gear. I had to run to the office. I came back and they were all like running around silly casting spells and stuff. Like, and I'd never seen any of it, and I was like, what the heck's going on?
Maybe they were playing Quidditch. That's
what I mean and I didn't know that at the time, but in retrospect I began to understand why they were acting kind of like a bunch of jackasses. It's so funny because I came back and I'm like, they're just like la, 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 la. Like it was like a cartoon, and I was like, what is going on? And they're like, oh, sorry, Coach Matthew. I'm like, you're supposed to be suiting up, not jumping off of chairs and tables. Like, what is going on? Son, we don't got time for this. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for this shit.
But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to distract him with that one. But yeah, it was just a thing that like sometimes you're not able to see, you know, some of these films out there. And some of them are really worth it. And that's the hardest thing, is to try to commit your time to the ones that you know either people have said really good things and you know you have a similar taste to them, or at the very least you're like, it's worth a shot. Like, I can't wait to see this movie. And right, isn't that the other terrible one too, right, Anthony and Kev? Like, it's not only bad when you go to see a movie and it's, you know, it turns out you're like, oh, I'm disappointed. But when you're so excited because you're like, this is great, like this is from my childhood and or this, and then you see it and you're like, what just happened? You know, like
it reminds me of The Last Jedi. That's what happened to me there. But it happened so slowly to me. Like I had to watch it like 3 times before I was like, wait, I still don't know what I think about this.
Oh man.
Interesting.
That was an immediate letdown. I'm not even like invested that much in the whole Star Wars thing. And I was just like, yo, this ain't it, bro.
I'm not either anymore.
Like this isn't it. I guess
I turned into Harrison Ford or something like that. And I just decided that, you know, I just asked George if maybe he could just have a character just ram a lightsaber right up my ass. And he looked at me and he said, well, you know, I can consider it. And I was like, well, you know, consider that my resignation. I don't know.
That's what I had somebody threaten me on my other channel, on my Space
They threatened
channel.
You? What do you mean they threatened you?
Like
they threatened you.
They were contacting me on
Master Jedi.
They were contacting me on YouTube, and they started to say certain things. I forget what they were saying, and then they kind of followed me to Instagram, and I could tell because I had the same name.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told me they were gonna they told me that they knew karate and stuff like that.
That they knew karate. That's what they told you.
And then that
don't you love it when your assassin tells you, "Hey, I know karate.
And they were
you're
going to
like-
shove a lightsaber up my ass, and they were going to make a special trip to New Jersey to do it.
Are you sure they weren't just joking around and being a bunch of?
Well, no, because I
show-off?
looked at the account, and he was like a karate black belt master, and I was like, I started to get like a little scared. I was like, maybe he will shove a
Fuck
saber up
that
my
guy,
butt.
man. Fuck that guy.
Nobody's gonna go to
What's
that
his
kind of
name?
trouble.
What's
That
his
would
name?
be
Who's this
really
guy?
weird.
I
too.
forget.
That's like too. That's a little
This is
too
recent?
aggro too.
This was like a year ago.
Well,
I'm
if
thinking
it's
you're
been a
talking about
year,
today.
he may
Yeah,
have
fuck
let
that
it
guy.
go. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
maybe he
might
let it.
have found
It was
God.
like before Corona,
Yeah.
because he said he was going to make a special trip from Las Vegas. Because I looked it up, and he had like a school in Las Vegas that like to teach karate.
What was his issue also, and what kind of influence would you think that would be on his own students? And again, what was his issue that was
That's what I was
so
thinking.
bad?
Because like at
that
the
he
time,
had
I'm
to
also
destroy
like
them?
learning karate. I mean, maybe that's something pissed him off, like about my.
That you were learning?
No, I mean, yeah, something maybe wanted him to like, challenge me. I don't know what the deal was, but
No, that sounds very wrong to me. That sounds like
Yeah,
someone
it's
who's
like once I
mentally
looked at his
disturbed and
page,
shouldn't
I
be
was
teaching
like,
children or adults.
yeah, I
at all.
was like, I
All
thought
right.
the exact same thing because like my karate teacher tells me like you do not want to like start fights with people, and then like I have this guy saying he's gonna make a
fuck
special
outta here,
trip.
man.
And you're
like,
like,
bro,
oh,
you're gonna-
you should
you're
have
gonna-
gone into
you're
your
gonna
teacher and
travel-
said, hey, I have a lesson
like,
for
listen,
you today, and he'd be
you're
like,
gonna-
what's
you're gonna
that lesson?
travel
And you're like,
across
it's
the
called
fucking
irony.
country to get shot, bro. Like, stop. Don't do that shit. Like, the fuck are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
here's my
it's-
address, just in case. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. Also, here's my favorite thing is like when people are doing that, where they're like, it's not immediate. They're like, I'm gonna fly out to get you. You're like, do you have any idea how stupid that would be if you really did do that? Because then,
Well, he told me he had done it before. Like he's like, I've done it before, where I've
Fuck
flown
you,
out there.
fuck
and
this
yeah,
guy.
but
somebody
wouldn't
up,
you
and I'm
fly
thinking,
right
well,
into the hands of the police?
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah. He threatened me. Just put his name on the fucking list.
yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, you could be like, here's all the things. Therefore, I don't really care. But if he shows up, you'll know.
Ridiculous. Yeah, it's fucking
Like it won't
stupid.
make sense. You'll be like, why are you traveling here? Oh, business.
imagine if his mouth moved like strangely differently to the words, and he told me he wanted to challenge me. Like he was like the guy from Las Vegas,
Damn you.
but his lips were moving different.
Now.
Weird, man.
You will
People are
learn
weird,
the
man.
new meaning of the word pain.
Yo, people are fucking weird.
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. You're absolutely right. I don't know what I'm doing.
Fuck. Yo, that stare was hilarious. That stare was fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
at least when I make threats to Kevin, I do them to his
You do it
face.
and you do it with paper, which is much more kind.
I do them with like they're not even thinly veiled. They're actually like blatant threats that he could take to the police if he chose.
That's a good point, right? It's better to just be direct with your
Like
karate chops.
here's some evidence for you in
Yes.
case you're man enough to go to the police.
Yeah, that's funny though. I love that.
If you're
Fantastic.
alpha enough not to go to the police, you can meet me outside, right,
I
Kevin?
Well, and then and then TK could say, "You shall not pass."
It's fucking crazy.
He
People
typed
are
it.
nuts,
I
man.
just said it. Yeah. I'm apparently the voice of TK Boom right now. Apparently, yeah. You guys can make that a meme, right? TK Boom.
TK Boomer, you shall not pass.
Yeah. Artemis, my blind
Yo.
dragon, actually sounds a little bit like him. Like that's going to be the style in which.
Yo,
he'll be.
imagine
Yeah.
Sean Connery was Gandalf. I think that'd have been fucking hilarious.
Sean Connery's Gandalf would say, "Show to all things, show to all who come upon such times, young Frodo.
I think he would have done great in like the smoking scenes, like
That is
whenever
not
he had
for
a
them to
smoke
decide.
with the
What
hobbits.
is for them to decide
Maybe.
is
Maybe.
what to do with the time we're given."
I don't know. I can't quite. I'm not very good at doing Sean, but I could. You would be doing Arnold as Gandalf would be great.
Fly,
He would've
you
fucking great.
fools!
That would have been great. He would have been fucking great.
Arnold should be an
You
old Conan.
shall not pass.
He should be
Nah!
King Conan.
King Conan.
Wouldn't that be great?
That should be fucking great.
Oh my god.
That should be a movie.
They got to get King
Gandalf.
Conan produced.
Condolf, the
Condolf.
wizard Barian. I'm Condolf, the wizard Barian.
Oh shit.
Or Conan the librarian. I love that from Weird Al back in the day.
I don't remember that one.
Oh well, it was a skit within this movie called UHF, which is
I remember UHF. I remember UHF.
Yeah. Conan the librarian. He's like, these books are a little late. You know, something like that. You know? I'm sorry, these books are late.
Weird Al.
Yeah, enough talk.
I gotta revisit that shit.
Yeah. Did you guys like Conan the Barbarian?
Oh yeah.
I mean, as a kid, hell yeah.
Kevin, what is best in life? To crush your enemies.
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you. Hear the lamentation
of the women. That is good. You're like, what?
I was like, I remember hearing that shit. Like, what the fuck? This dude is intense.
Well, the point is, they didn't call it Conan the nice dude across the street with a Bentley.
Crazy, bro. He was fucking crazy.
It's like Conan the Destroyer was also one of the films, so you're sort of like it's in character.
To hear the lamentation of their women.
To hear the lamentations of the women. I mean, you got to give Arnold credit for doing that way back then when he was probably like, what the hell is the word? Lemon tater tots? What are you talking about?
He fucking did it. And he was sitting in the fucking on the table while everybody's eating around him. He's just sitting there. Just like, what the fuck is going on?
They're like, action. He's like, don't move. I will be a movie star.
Fucking Arnold, boy. Jesus Christ. He made it happen, man. He made it happen for himself.
Of course he did. Yeah, he had. I still love him. One of my favorite videos of all time when I get pretty like down on myself or I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to complete most of my damn objectives. He's got a good video where he's done it just like Denzel Washington has done these things where they'll try to inspire people not only at schools, shit. Yeah, but mostly at graduations for people graduating colleges. But the point is like they'll be there and he's just like he has like 6 rules to his success. And he's like, trust yourself, don't listen to the naysayers, work really, really, really hard, give something back, these kinds of things that are like defaults to, it doesn't matter if you want to be an actor, you want to be a good business person, then you have to do those things. You want to make a comic book, you have to do those things. If you want to write Diamond Dragons and try to finish a book and the screenplay and everything, you got to do those things. You have to. You have to do the work, but at the same time, I think luck also enters the equation to some extent. Whether things become successful, it's kind of like the right. It's like a eclipse, Not to use another reference in Diamond Dragons, because there's a lot with the sun and the moons in Diamond Dragons. There's an eclipse in the story that becomes of importance. But anyway, yeah.
Total eclipse of the heart?
No, but eclipse of the two. There's 2 moons in Diamond Dragons, and so these 2 moons eclipse one another during this time. Nice. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Did you ever see a total eclipse of the moon dough?
Dude. Oh, good timing.
Master of all
good timing, dude. That was
nice sweater, bro. I keep fucking forgetting to put my sweater. What a dickhead. How did I put my sweater on?
The moon dough. I love it.
Moon dough.
Not just the moon dough, but of the moon. Telemundo.
Dude, I'm so proud of this thing, man. I've been showing it off all damn day.
Looks good. Looks good on you.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't thank you guys enough, man. Can't thank you guys enough.
What is the word, sir?
Bird's a word. Bird's a word. It wasn't too bad of a day. Ain't too bad of a day. A little late from coming home from work. So
yeah. Did you get power back, Mundo? Or are you back? Or
yes, we actually got power back Friday.
So you're back in your I don't want to say your legit home, but like you're back at your own place?
Yeah.
Oh, copy that. Well, that's cool.
The new house, man.
Oh,
I'll have to one of these days sometime soon, man. I'll have to send you send you a pic of the place, man.
Dude, you should do a video walkthrough for all your people and your friends and foes.
Show us where all the valuables are hidden and the combos, and me and Kevin will make a surprise visit.
Well,
ASAP.
you guys make a surprise visit. That's fine. I'll put y'all on the couch, man.
Oh my God, TK was like, "Look, there's the Moondalorian."
Mandalorian.
How you feeling, TK, man? Man, I'm glad you're doing okay, dude. Thank you. Thanks be to God, man.
He was saying that he was X-rayed, microwave, stuck catheters and chips.
Yeah,
and he said
sounded
he's AI. Fucked up.
Oh my God!
It sounds like he's in good spirits. Like
Yeah, he does. He does.
Then his first time to the rodeo. You know what I mean?
He was twine, porcupine, rewind.
He got TK.
TK, I'm gonna take a shot for you, bro, man.
Yeah, he got TK mooned.
Oh,
Ooh, did you get that
is
one too
good.
hard?
That
Dirty.
no, it's
Dirty.
good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah, hold
man.
up that bottle again, right? That's just well. What I'm saying is, the one that Anthony had earlier, because he was like, "Yo, here's the thing that did not get shipped to my friend, and we had to pretend."
Oh yeah.
TK doesn't say he's a microchip; he's a micro hip.
He's a micro hip.
Dropping more knowledge. Oh, I just noticed something. That's cool. I'm behind. Wait, no, this is great. Look at. I am the head. Wait. There we go. It's perfect. It's perfect. I see nothing wrong with this. I am the face of Albatross Junction, apparently. Or wait, the Albatross Junction is my. I want to take his face.
Let's fix that so you're not blocked.
No, I don't care. It was funny. Actually, it was better that way because then I can hide behind it when I don't want to show my face. But right, I want to take his face off. I want to take his face off.
Matthew is the face of Albatross Junction.
No, that would be bad. Wait, do you guys want to keep customers or lose them?
Well, who's the skull of Albatross Junction? Because Kev, I was told by my friend that if we made tequila in them bottles, that's how to make money.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what it should be?
That would be awesome.
If we had that bottle, like Kevin designed that bottle on Mundo's shirt right there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mundo, let's see the shirt again. That skull bottle.
Boom.
That should be a real alcohol bottle at the store.
Yeah, for real.
You know what? I bet you guys could. You know what? I bet you could do it. The only problem is you'd probably have to do something really funky to make sure that it wasn't so quickly breakable. And then think about it; it would be expensive because you'd be shipping less alcohol in the same volume. Do you see what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the real trick would be making that bottle.
That's what I'm trying to say is the eye holes. You could just make them insets in the glass. You know what I mean? But either way, the misshapen, thing of it would make it really.
Oh, I bet
expensive.
the glass makers would have fun making that someday.
I'm sure it's not been done ever. Like, think about it. What are the chances that someone's made a skull out of glass before that could plausibly hold liquid?
There's already a liquor with a glass skull bottle.
Oh,
really?
So you guys already know?
Yeah,
well, that's what I mean.
There's already a tequila with that shit.
That's fair.
But it doesn't mean anything.
But and also you could just try to brand with them and say, "Yo, I designed this weird drink in my comic book, and it kind of resembles this thing that you guys did. Do you want to just do this thing because reasons?" And then you can tell them, and we'll. How about this? We'll drink all the alcohol, and you'll give us all the money. No, I'm just kidding. and they'll be like,
if it only worked that way, that would be one hell of a deal.
Yeah,
that'd be one hell of a deal.
Well, the point would be, of course, you'd probably have to say, "Hey, we'll offer you a percentage of the book. Like, what do you think?" Like, and maybe they'll say yes, or maybe they'll say, "We're not going to get involved."
Yeah, like 60% of nothing is nothing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, man, because if they actually did hook up and they thought it was a good idea to go ahead and do that, the possibilities would be endless, man. Endless.
You never know.
Endless drunken nights out of a skull bottle.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at what is it? One of the Jackie Chan's movies, Drunken Master.
Yeah.
He was in his fight scene, and
I know the one.
Well, what is it? What does it?
What does it mean?
Yeah,
There's a skull and crossbones. He's like,
oh, it's
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. Actually, that's one of my favorite scenes of his, where he performs one of my favorite edits with this move that in tricking we always called it sort of the Psycho Crusher. It's hard to explain, but it's basically when he does a twisting forward action, sort of like M. Bison, if you will, but he does it for real and twists to him and then punches him. But the irony is you can't in there, like, it's not even physically possible, I don't think.
You were talking about the crazy corkscrew move?
Yeah, we call it a Psycho Crusher because there's a different move in tricking called cork or corkscrew, but we just call it cork. But anyway, it's kind of like that. But the point is, with his editing, he makes it look fantastic. And,
yeah,
and
he
that's,
does.
That's the thing, is most people didn't really think about that about Jackie, is in addition to being just a phenomenal martial artist and his whole team being great and making him look good, he's like, it's so important knowing how to edit a fight scene together, because if you don't know how to edit, then it's terrible. You know,
yeah,
and
he's such a perfectionist. He's such a perfectionist, and he should be. In his documentary, he showed all of that. He showed like all the tricks of how he does things and certain things, and how his team does with him and everything.
Exactly.
And
he's got two of them really too.
Yes. And so he even explains that when it comes to working with other martial artists.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Like the one that they at least focused on, because it was in the one where they're on the roof. I think it was called "Who Am I?"
Yeah,
and yeah, he had a world professional martial arts champion. But actually, I'm glad you brought this up too, Mundo, too, because like I don't know if you're aware of this, or I guess maybe you are, or everybody else too, is like a lot of times people will think that because someone's a champion boxer or martial artist, that they'll automatically be perfect for film fight scenes. And the answer is, it's kind of like looking at like this. Just because someone, like for example with me, was a fencer, doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for fight combat, like on staged moves, because none of them they're actually the same thing. They kind of cross over. It's like two sports that play in the same coliseum, but they're two different sports. You know what I mean? Yeah. So no, totally. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, because Jackie obviously knew the difference between that, and sometimes martial artists would not.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't know by default.
Well, he's even said, hey, in some fights, it's okay to run away. I mean, you know, don't stick around. He goes, I may know how to kick ass, but that doesn't mean I'm not stupid.
You know what always fucks me up? That all like the grandmasters and the people who are really respected in the martial arts in Asia, they don't consider him a fighter at all.
I know, right?
That's fucking crazy to me. He's just an actor. Like he's just an athletic actor. He's not like, cause I remember there was an interview with Donnie Yen. They were like, "Yo, do you think you can fuck up Jackie Chan?" And out of respect, Donnie Yen was like, "No, like no, I would." And they were like, "Come on, like fucking be honest, like you would murder him." And he's like, "No, like relax, like, chill out. That's Jackie you're talking about." You know what I mean?
They're good friends. I mean,
and that's not the point. And that's not the point in martial arts either. Too, like I always hate it when those questions get posed, because then it tends to make it like two major things. One, it makes it like this is the point of martial arts, which it is not. And then the second thing is that it somehow proves that one art might be better than the other, which is again another fallacy, because then think of it like, if you get a practitioner who's either a bad boxer or a brand new one or just not good boxer, and you pit them against a championship, I don't know, blah, and then one wins, then you're kind of like, well, yeah, that would happen no matter what. Like if you threw that change out that other martial artist to someone of similar ilk, like I don't care the art, karate or this or this or this, and they're low level, they're going to get killed by the person who's high level. It's the point of the whole thing. That's why I always try to teach people when I would talk about fencing, that I would say, you know, just because I learned to do something with this particular tool at this particular distance doesn't mean I don't also understand doing things at different distances and with different weapons, because it all boils down to a foundation of like leverage and timing and tactics and skill. So I was like, there's a lot of crossover. I still have to study all the different ones, but I find it interesting that some people think then, oh, well, if you are, pitting one martial art against the other one, then as long as one wins, then we know definitively that one's better. And you're like, how does that make any sense? Like, that's like saying I wrote a book faster than this other guy, and because I wrote it faster, I must be better than them. You're like, really? Why?
Well, especially if you have two different kinds of styles.
That's what I mean. Like,
I mean, it's crazy. You can't. Now, okay, here's the thing. I mean, if you got two different styles of fighting and one or the other wins, I mean, still, it's like it's not an even game. It really isn't, because if you have one that does nothing but grappling and you got one that does nothing but kicking, well, come on. You got the guy who's trying to grapple, but
that's like the Gracies did back in the day when UFC started from the beginning, which it wasn't even called UFC then. I think it was just
Ultimate Fighting Championship. It was always UFC. It just wasn't the acronym.
No, there was something before that too. It was only brief, and this is like way back in the 90s.
Yeah, I got UFC 1 when Gracie was like the shit. Ultimate Fighter.
No,
like,
that was it. Just UF. Okay, good point. So no CI. That was it. But exactly, like I remember when people were getting their teeth knocked out, but also that the Gracies were choking everybody out. And so it's like, well, some people are like, that's not fair. I'm like, well, but see, that's what I'm trying to say is that, like, it's just they're a better fighter than you are overall now at this point. Like, sorry. So don't try to make it about, oh, it's just because it's jiu-jitsu. I'm like, no, jiu-jitsu's strong, but like if you had someone who knew, and that's kind of why I think everything has gravitated towards MMA, is like you just have to be the best at punching, the best at kicking, the best at knee, the best at grappling. That's what MMA is all about. That's why there's no, if you think about it, MMA is like the best way of evening the playing field for everybody to find out, are you really pretty good? Because it doesn't say, oh, MMA only karate, MMA only kung fu, oh, only this. They're like, come and do things, and here are the rules, and that's it. Wow. So like boxing, it's just basically boxing with kicking, and that's why it's like TKD. But then they also add grappling. So when you get down to it, that's why it's mixed martial arts. When you think about it, it's punching and elbows, kicking, so leg items and stuff, and actual grappling and stuff. And actually, there's a lot of things you're not allowed to break the arm. Obviously, you could put them in a lock, but you're not allowed to just immediately break someone's arm.
TK.
Right? So imagine if you put someone in a lock and the goal was immediately to break whatever you could on them. Like literally if you can break their arm, break it immediately, like in 3 seconds, do it quick.
That'd be fucked up.
But the point is, that's in some ways, that's going all the way back to like the reality of why jiu-jitsu was taught. It was taught to disable someone. Like if somehow, you're firing the guns or the bayonets, or not necessarily bayonets, but the point being is spears, you get in close range, snap their arm, they're not going to get up and shoot at you with that. You don't got to kill them. You break their arm and go on.
Well, that was one of the whole bases for Shaolin martial arts as well.
Right.
Shaolin Kung Fu was so that they could stop, people from hurting the monks, because the monks were not like,
they didn't want to do well. They weren't necessarily combative, but it was, they would not say, we're going to use the guns, we're going to use bow and arrow, we're going to knife people to death and everything like that. It was
Well, they were peaceful people, and because they didn't agree with the violence and everything, but they didn't want people to hurt them, because, within China, all the different, types of bandits and everything. So what they needed to do was to protect themselves from getting raided in the Shaolin Temple, not only from the triads and bandits, but everybody who
the triads
wanted to, a lot of it had to do with triad raids, because they got tired of being, hurt from them. And so they trained to keep the triads from hurting them. And also some of the grandmasters from Shaolin were actually trained to the point where they were so good that they would actually go and actually take some of the triads down and imprison them, because that's what they could do, and to keep, you know, the temple and everybody else around the temple safe.
Yeah.
You know? A very interesting documentary on the Shaolin Temple and why, you know, how they came about and everything else, on the History Channel.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah. Ooh, guys, I've Ant, you're gonna love this, man. You know, with me moving stuff, I kind of found a little hidden empty gem that I did find. A master replicas Vader.
Oh wow, I haven't seen one of those in ages.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
An O3. So it's gutted out. It's not.
How do you have it like without anything in there? You had previously took it out, or you bought it like this?
No. It was busted. It was broken. So I just gutted it out, man.
Oh wow.
And I figured, well, I mean, I might as well just kind of like put a flashlight in it or something. This is before I even met you guys. And
yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, I think I'll just put like a red light or something in there. And then after meeting Anthony, I was like, oh shit, now I can really turn this into something good.
Right. So the irony is that brings back so many memories, because like when I first got on the scene, we were gutting those things to convert them into LED sabers, so that we could put the proper polycarbonate blades on. And that was at a time when the film, we were all inventing the final kind of film that everybody finally just gravitated towards, which was just, you know, polypropylene wrap, I should say, basically gift wrap.
Oh, you kind of like the luminescent lights, or not?
It's no, but all I'm trying to say is it's just taking me down memory lane. 2005 and 6. Yeah.
Did you ever make one of those with the luminescent lights?
Okay, so yeah, you're talking about EL. EL was not only before my time, but the point is when I entered the equation, I quickly deduced that EL was not at all what I wanted to make, and I never would have made one. It was far too dim, far too useless, and absolutely no possibility for sound because of the voltage that EL required, which was, I want to say, I'm pretty bloody sure that it was 12 volts, not 16, but 12. And 12 volts is an enormous amount of voltage for something like a small PCB, and you would never, ever be able to run most boards off of 12 volts, because if the board supported 12 volts, the components at that time would have been ginormous. Now, fast forward to the future here now, and it's plausible, and I don't know this for a fact, but I could imagine how Irv might eventually be able to move things towards. I remember at one point where he was like, I recommend, you know, 3.6 volts, 7.4 or whatever, the lithium ion. But I remember asking him at one point, I'm like, you should try to support 3 lithium ions, so it's just under 12, you know. But he's like, man, I don't know, that's a lot of heat. And I'm like, I know, but I was like, I just wondering. So I'm wondering if now the components are at the point where they can possibly deal with that, and then we could get the 12 volts. But anyways, that's.
But you'd have to have a pretty good heat sink for that dissipation, though, wouldn't you?
You're getting my drift, but the point is, then as LEDs improve, then the heat dissipation will be better. That, in other words, like, I don't know if people are aware of this, and I might be wrong on some of this, but people can find out more. Certainly, this was true back in 2007 and 8 and 9 and probably 10. But that LEDs are primarily heat and not light. Now, that said, some people say that's not right. That's more like lasers. More. That's not what I mean. Is I'm saying is that the efficiency, even though they're fairly efficient, they're still not super efficiently made. They generate a lot of heat. As you know, that's why it has to sink off of it. But I can imagine that as technology improves, they're going to learn to be like, well, can we find ways to make that heat just generate out as light and stop being so wasteful? Because that's all heat is. When you're applying energy into these lights and they shed off heat, they're just spitting energy away. You know, it'd be like if you got, you know, if you poured your drink and just before you drank, you poured a little out, drank some, then poured a little out and drank some. You're like, why are you wasting it? You know, and you're like, well, it's only a little at a time. I'm like, I know, but it's not efficient. You know, so the point is you try to get them to be more efficient. So eventually it's possible, but I don't know. And I don't know if the technology is quite there yet. It would be something that we'd all have to ask Irv and other people, but I'm out of the game. And this is just how my mind used to think with the electronics. I think that's why we would do some interesting innovations together. But again, I've been out of it, and I don't really have much interest in going back. You know. But yeah, anyways, EL Mundo was just antiquated by the time I came in, and I would have never wanted it for live performances. It was just too dim, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree, because after doing some research on it and stuff, and I was like, why did they even bother with this stuff? Because I mean, even
in retrospect, it feels that way, Mundo, but it's like you have to think of it like, you know, why did I don't want to make it like we were all cavemen, but you know, why did cavemen not, you know, use the internet? It's like, well, you know, they haven't invented it yet, and there was things. So like EL was the best way to have a saber that you could beat on things that would not break, because then the ones that, as you know, were designed by mass replicas, if you beat on those, it didn't break the LEDs, it broke the solder joints on the crack of the way that they were built, and they were just too super flimsy. So
I think that's what happened to mine, because
I can guarantee it. Yeah.
When I turn it on, I mean, I never beat the hell out of it or anything like that.
Doesn't always matter.
You know, just tapping on the hand. So, you know, but later on, when I would turn it on, only half the LEDs would work, and the other half would just like total shit. So it was
malfunction, or a wire being cut. But you see my point. And now that you've designed a saber, you understand like just how it can be, and it's sort of a conundrum. You're taking these electronics, which could be fragile, and placing it in a condition where it's going to be beat to hell on, or at least that might be the concern. And so you're like, well, how do we design it? And that's why I think there's kind of different expectations of the way the electronics were designed back in the day, when people were like, this is just meant to hang on the wall. Now everybody expects that they could, you know, throw it across the room, it lands on the floor, or, you know, you're doing staged combat with it. And, you know, if I recall, I was part of the reason that some of that even started to go somewhere, but other people other people were definitely doing it first before me. But I remember that it became a real thing where it was like, wow, we can make these more lightweight. We can, you know, do better enhancing of the blades, like what makes the blade light show better. And Anthony knows all about that now by doing the NeoPixel, is that you still have to diffract and diffuse the light to some extent.
Yeah. So a natural evolution, with, you know, with the components and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting even to me that especially I remember when Anthony was saying NeoPixel was a thing, that I was like, wow, we're going back to LED strings. It's so funny how it's come full circle, you know, because you know, we kind of, that's where it all kind of began, and then everybody's like, nah, those are the worst thing, and then someone else was like LED strings, and then it was just clunky and it didn't work, and then finally we were like, no, it's going to be flashlight central for the longest time. And then now it's like, suddenly you're like, man, I think it's really here now. Like, you thought it was back in the day. Nuh-uh. Like, here's the LED strings now. And I guess they have the best of all worlds, which is great, you know?
Hey, what are you working on right there, man?
This is page 34. So the little thumbnail shows this right here.
Yeah.
The one guy's getting an alert on his wrist, like module.
That's cool.
They walk by these failed experiments, or these broken pods with like life forms in there.
So just real quick to set the tone too, is like, you know more about your kind of previs there than anyone will, because right, like we can't see that yet, but then you'll bring it out because you know.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, cool. Well, so tell me more, because I'm enjoying trying to learn about all these things in the background, like the pod. Like, I wouldn't have known those are pods until you said so.
Yeah, but like, you know, all that's kind of shorthand when I do it on the thumbnails there. But I basically do the thumbnails by the text, by the script. So let's see if I go to the script.
Oh, cool. So you just had that looked up for it. It's not under your frame in those little line areas. You're just like, you've got a completely different document. Oh, makes sense to me.
Yeah, let's see here.
I don't want to distract you from drawing too, but that's cool though. Yeah, that's cool that like right then the audience can be like, this is really cool. Oh yeah, TK Boomer Mundo asked you, how much did that cost, or did you already get that?
Oh, this?
The Vader.
The Vader, I think I probably paid about like I want to say like 65 back in the day. Because they weren't like super popular.
No, not at all back then. No.
You know, back then they weren't that like super popular.
Well,
But because it was Disney, and because it lit up and it scrolled up and it scrolled down,
yeah,
you know, that was that you know, it was very interesting at the time that I had it when it was working the way it was, because that's when, you know, Disney, I mean not Disney, but
Master Replicas.
you got, yeah, the Master Replicas came out because of the movies, you know, and so they weren't sure whether they were actually really going to sell well or not at that time, until the movie got popular. And so when they put this out, the price did not shoot up until after the movies became really super popular. But I bought mine during the time that everybody was still kind of like, not sure about the movie, you know. And once everybody started liking it, you know, I saw the price go from 62 bucks. I think I got it for like 62 bucks. From 62 bucks on up to like 120 later on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm all like, oh crap. And then they, you know, they made the Luke Skywalker, they made the Vader, and I ended up getting the Vader because I was like, well, I'll get one and then I'll get the other one later. Well, when I decided to get the Luke Skywalker one, it was already like almost $180.
And you're like, what happened? Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm all like, dude, I was coming with my, you know, I had probably just saved up enough to get the Luke Skywalker, and I saw the price. I'm all like, oh, the hell no.
I know, right? You're like, come on now.
Like, I'm like,
come on
damn.
now.
It's like, and I'll tell you this much. I had a missed opportunity, like couple of, like, I think it was like last year or the year before. I missed an opportunity where they had Sphero came out with the R2D2, you know, with on your cell phone app and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you could run R2D2 with your cell phone, and it was at Walmart for like $30. And I told my wife, I said, hey, you know, I need to get it right now. She goes, okay, we'll come and get it in about a month, you know, because it was just out there. And I'm all like, I need to get it now. She goes, just wait a month and we'll get it, you know. Well, they sold out of them, right? They sold out of them. And then a few months later, they shot up to almost $200. I'm all like, what the hell? So like, Walmart didn't carry them anymore, and eBay, and I can't even find one for even $60.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say that I understand what you're saying. I just can't resonate only because I've never been a collector of anything, and I've never had the money to be able to do those things. Like I always bought things in not practicality, but like that's not even a word, I don't think, but like to be practical with them. Like that's why I had sabers, or I built them because I needed them. And then, you know, once they'd serve their purpose, I'm like, oh, like mine are just in my closet still. The flung saber. No, I'm not kidding. I haven't touched those things since basically May of last year, because Google wanted me to maybe do a May event with them, but then it got canceled like one day before. But anyway, yeah, my Kylo Ren saber is still back there, which was the solo killer saber that I made. And I made that basically out of like all my own kind of stuff in my own way. It's completely custom, basically. And then there's the flung saber and some other weird ones, you know. So
yeah, see, and there's some that I want to, you know, truly make for myself and stuff. I had sent Space a couple of like designs from the custom saber shop that I had put together, stuff
that's
like
cool.
that. And
that's what I mean. It was cool to see you build your own, the first one. Like I thought that was dope.
Yeah, and I got a couple of other designs. Like I need to find. I'm gonna find the pic that I sent Space. That there's a design that I've got for my father's build. You know, to honor my father. And
yeah, I think you were talking about it.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, man. The colors are gonna be wet black and kind of like either a high gloss brass or like maybe candy gold or something like that.
Sweet.
So yeah. And I took two emitters and put them together, and they look pretty wicked together.
I got you. That's cool stuff. Yeah, it's funny how like back in 2005 and 6 there was like nothing really other than like a saber, and then eventually people started being like, I'm gonna make a trident, I'm gonna make a staff, I'm gonna make, and it was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Like props started really evolving into interesting ways of just being more creative with it. That's half the reason I liked doing the sound too, is like trying to get it where it doesn't have to be a lightsaber. It could be fire sword, energy sword, a knife. I even made one font that sounded like boxing gloves because it was like ding ding ding, and you hear the oh, and you hear the punch and and it was of course purposely exaggerated, but it was like you could program these into boxing gloves and then have like the sounds. Just kind of fun,
Yeah, exactly. So, see, and that's one of the cool things is that when you do a custom sound, and just there's an infinite number of possibilities to do a font. I mean,
oh yeah,
but with retrospect to an artist that has, I've already made the sound and you utilize that sound for a font, you got to get, people have to give props to that person that already has done a certain sound, that
well, yeah, I mean, it's all different. Yeah. It's just fun to see.
But there's just yeah, exactly. That's the fun in it, to see where it goes from beginning to end. And like I said, like now everybody's got a YouTube channel on on Saber stuff.
Probably.
And but I stick with what I know, what I love, and all of that good stuff together. It's like, but you never, you don't ever stop learning. You don't ever stop learning. There's always something new to learn. No matter how small it is, it's always fun to.
I wish I could learn from osmosis from Kev and Anthony on how to draw, because like I can't. No, it's true. Like I do not. I've always been bad at drawing, in the sense that like, even as a kid, I really just didn't draw very well. Like it wasn't my thing, and I wasn't interested in it. Like I can't connect in my mind. Like, oh, I want to draw a face. Like it doesn't compute for my body. And I think that's a good point, that like not everybody has the same skill sets, and some people are unable to learn certain skill sets. It's just the way it is. Like, I knew I taught hundreds, maybe thousands of kids fencing, certainly a good amount of adults too. Not quite as many, but the point is, I remember some kids where, it was probably impossible for them to get good at fencing, and then other ones where it was really great possibility, and then everything in between. It doesn't mean that no one could. It just meant that some people have it like where it's like, oh man, this is not your thing. Like not everybody's Jackie Chan, duh.
Yeah, right.
So not everybody's an artist in the sense that
I think you'd be surprised at how far people could come, though.
Oh no, I wouldn't be. I mean, believe me, I've seen it. I've seen people who came to me with no skill, no fencing, and then they're like, and then maybe they go somewhere with it. But what I'm getting at, Anthony, is something different. I'm saying is, even if you teach certain skills at a certain point, you're like, there are some people that you're like, they're not going to be that good at that. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Like, you could probably teach me, Kevin and Anthony, how to draw a little bit, but there is almost no way that even if I practiced that I'd be as good as you guys are.
Right. Me either.
Yeah, you can teach skill, you can't teach talent.
That's basically what I'm getting at. It's okay. It's okay for people to acknowledge and understand that they're like, dude, I'm not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm not going to be this kind of basketball player. But I do play basketball, but I don't play basketball at that level, and I don't need to. And sometimes people might say, well, how long did you study it? Sometimes
I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is the extent of my drawing skills. I don't know if it'll show up on there or not.
I'm not seeing
I
anything.
drew a little. Let's see.
I don't see anything.
It's okay. Well, there you go. That's
the little sword there.
Yeah, like that's about what I could come up with if I had to.
That's the extent of my drawing skill right there.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I always take that
TK's point. Like, I'll buy it for real.
I take the point you just made to heart when I follow like a famous chef's recipe, man. It's like you can give me the instructions and exactly how to do it, but
exactly,
it ain't gonna come out the way you do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's fair. And it's not to say that it means that it's denigrating on society or people or whatever. It's just trying to say like it's actually a very good thing. Like
we all don't have the codex.
Yeah, like, well, and imagine if all of us were exactly the same, then it would be really boring, because then you'd meet someone and you're like, what are you interested in then? This. Oh, me too. Oh, me too. Oh, me too. What else? What do you tell me something new? And they're like, I don't have anything new. I just do all the same things you do. And you'd be like, no. Do you see what I mean? Do you understand what I'm getting at? Yeah. You want people with different skill sets. They bring new life.
That's right. Variety is the spice of life.
Well, what I mean is that you don't have to be everything and anything. Like, I remember so many people, like, they'd find out about what I wanted, or not what I wanted, what I was doing about some things, and then they'd get into that too. And I'm like, that's cool to some extent, but I'm like, don't forget that you can have your interests too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to agree on everything. Like, if I sit there and like if I'm vegging out over old kung fu movies, let's say, it doesn't mean that the person next to you has to be like, I absolutely love this. If they hate it, it's like, good, don't watch it. It's okay.
That's one of my favorite pastimes. My mom, it was so funny because my mom, she would kind of like, you like those chop chop kill kill movies?
Chop chop kill kill. Wait, excuse me. Oh man, that's pretty racist there. Chop chop kill kill, dude. That's the next name of your next comic book,
right?
Chop chop kill.
Sounds like an in-world.
No, Yakilla. Chop chop Yakilla.
Yeah.
Chop chop. Yeah.
She would get mad. She goes, "Damn it! You're watching those chop chop kill kill movies again." I mean, I would watch them religiously on every weekend, man, and she would just get mad.
That has to be a character in there, you guys. In AJ, you got to make someone say, "Don't you come near me!" or "Chop chop kill kill."
Chop chop kill. Funny as hell.
Dude, that's probably a good that's probably a good line for the
bar, obviously, for sure. Someone's been drinking if they say that.
No, my mom wasn't drinking. She was just
I'm joking. I'm just saying that's just funny. It's such a funny
but
line.
I thought it was hilarious when she
heard anybody ever say chop chop kill kill.
I'm gonna read you the page 34. Like what I got, like how I got to where I was going was from this text. So it starts out: the two men continue and pass by a couple more rooms. They stop in one of them, and Donovan checks one of the operational machines. Jonathan Dobbs speaks. Mackenzie ain't the same as Zaret. Mackenzie is a decent man. Donovan says, the secret stays here. The Dybbuk stays here. The Dybbuk must die here, John. When I'm gone, my wish is that you destroy this place. No good will come of this place unless I'm guiding it. Only more death. You make sure there's nothing left. Nothing. You understand? Like, he's looking at some of the creatures and equipment. John Dobbs says, it would be my pleasure. And then the wrist communicator, whatever it's called, it goes off. Beep, beep. That's the final panel that I was drawing. So I didn't do the top half yet.
Wow.
See, and that's that's when you can assume that dramatic music is playing in there, where you're like, this is the dun 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 dun.
I don't know why, but I just caught a flashback from Cable Guy when he was fighting him in like fucking like medieval time. He was like, Abbey Road.
It's like the Captain Kirk, like in the first season when they're fighting, like that
was funny as hell.
Dude, the Captain Kirk wall bounce is probably the best one though ever, right? TK, do you know that one? The Captain Kirk wall bounce move? Nothing. It's actually unstoppable.
Wait, like, what does he do? What does he do?
Someone one day will have to look it up, or you'll have to look it up.
Well, I've just been watching it. Like, I literally just watched all the first season episodes like a month ago. But I'm trying to remember, because I remember some of the fights. Like, there was one fight where he had to fight like 3 champions, and it's just like pretty goofy. But the one cool thing about it is it seems like it's Kirk, whatever his name is.
Yes, that's his name.
What's Kirk's name?
William
real life.
Shatner, you mean?
William Shatner. It seems like, as it's a little bit goofy, but the interesting thing about it is it's like it's him though. It's not like they switch it out for a guy.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah, it's him doing the stupid shit.
It looks like he's doing it, so I know it's not like the Matrix or anything, but at least it's like him. Like that's kind of one cool thing. It does look like him some of the time, so I'm like, all right, well, at least he's swinging that pole, or he's like kicking that guy, or he's like wrestling that lizard guy.
You're right. They had doubles, but that only happened like later on when they had more budget, because it's true. Like most people don't even think about that they're like, oh, why didn't they do this, that, and the other? And they could have had like karate experts or something special for this Star Trek people. And you're like, dude, Gene didn't have any money. They didn't. Like, why do you think most all of the things take place on the bridge of the ship all the time for almost every episode? And then they beam down to a planet, which is just some place in the desert somewhere.
It just looks like they're like they beamed down to one place where it was like they were cowboys.
Exactly.
and you could tell, and then like a totally different episode, they beamed down to a planet which had spawned from like a crew that had gone out there 100 years before, and they based their whole society on like, it was like a Texas town. It was like the set that they had. Yeah. But they based their society on like gangsters from like 1930s.
Right.
Wow.
So that's how they spoke to each other. But they understood about technological prowess. Like they understood about like phasers and shit like that.
It was so weird, right? Like those are the concepts you have to get across to just say, hey, just enjoy the story. Just like my personal favorite thing is, don't you love how in Star Trek, every planet is, oxygen breathable, like no problem. No problem.
Really?
No,
that's one of the things that kind of threw me off a little bit. But
every planet has exactly, and no, get this, right? The same G forces. In other words, do you have any idea what happens if you go to certain planets out there that actually look exactly like Earth? They're the same in a lot of ways. That's the thing. Some people think, oh, there's no other planets like Earth. I'm like, oh no, there's thousands. With one exception, the atmosphere is nitrogen and hydrogen, and you're like, is that bad? I'm like, very.
If you can breathe that in,
you'll die immediately.
He did a lot of that in college.
Well, and then my personal favorite is when I see on the list of planets that you see the G's, and they're like, listed at 7, or something, and you're like, right. Can you have any idea what would happen if you were standing on a planet where you were subjected to 7 Gs just standing still?
Wow.
It would be, I'll quote Egon, ripped to Harold Ramis, right? It would be bad.
To cross the streams.
Well, that's why I love the Expanse so much, because they take into account all this science stuff and put it in the show. So the people that like are floating around in space their whole life, they're called belters. Like they even have babies up just like in 0G. And so they grow
right there, babies in 0G.
Like they grow with like these really abnormally long bodies to us. So like they come out like really tall. They're like all like 7 feet tall and thin.
Right.
They don't need to have like muscles to stand up and stuff like that. And they're also like more like impervious to those demands of like how do they say it in the show? Not 0G, but like hard vacuum. So you're wearing this like dinky, like rinky dinky suit, and you're like out in the vacuum of space. Now that's like it's gonna be difficult for someone like us, but for these people like born up in space, like they don't give a fuck. That's just a normal Tuesday.
I like that. Nice quote to the what was it, Street Fighter the movie? But to me, it was Tuesday. You guys know that name?
No.
Yeah.
Shout out to Raul Julia. We miss you. We love you, bro.
It just reminds me of something I always said to Kevin at work. I would say, is it Monday or Tuesday?
It's Moon's Day.
I was saying, is it Tuesday
Moon's
or
Day.
Wednesday?
It's Moon's Day.
Yeah, that's the dragon word for it. Moon's Day, right? All the days of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I have not seen that before, so I'm surprised that I don't feel like maybe I'm the first one. I don't actually know for sure, but I feel like I am because I never read anything where people have done that before. With the days of the week. It's a long story.
Only a little bit in like Lord of the Rings when they talk about like their periods of time. They talk about like in the Hobbit. Remember, they were like something about the moon when they were looking at that scroll.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that was when
Elrond says something like, "You have to come on the 4th moon of the fucking special Mundo holiday, whatever."
Mundo holiday.
Mundo.
Right.
On Mundo Mondays, damn it.
You got to come on the 3rd Mundo Monday of the month. And you have to be standing in
Today
the exact spot
is Kev's
at
day.
the exact time.
Today is Kevin's day.
Kevin's Day.
Kevin's day.
Shit.
That's the thing. It would be on Wednesday. It'd be Kevin's day, right?
Kevin's Day.
Kevin's Day.
But no, TK even said he'd buy it for real. I love that.
Yeah.
What's he buying? Mundo Saber?
Probably. Well, I mean, that's what he
Well,
said.
I don't know if I'll give it up to
Aha. Now,
I don't know, because
TK, let the bidding war begin. No, I'm just kidding.
TK says he's selling one of his vapes and he's going to get his saber.
there you go. There you go.
I'm going to start giving HJs for sabers.
Jesus Christ.
I have nothing. I'm not going to.
Kevin, what are you inking? What are you inking, Kev?
Same
Good.
page.
Same page.
Same page, bro.
Hey, it's all
nice.
good.
We got
man.
far.
Oh, look at that, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm going
Look
in. I'm
at
going
that.
in over here. I'm going in.
You going into overdrive, man.
Going in.
Now, this
Hey, I like the cap, man. I like the cap.
The one guy who's sweating
Thank
it,
you. Thank you.
is he
Thank you,
sweating it or is he bleeding?
Which
I think
guy?
he's sweating. Show it again, Kev. Is somebody
He's
sweating
sweating it
over
or he's bleeding? You know what I'm saying?
This
there? I
guy?
think they're sweating.
This guy?
Maybe.
Well, kind of
Yeah,
all
that
of
one.
it, but yeah, but especially him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's a good question then.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's
I
a
think he
nice
might be
painting
sweating.
behind you.
Actually, I'm going to. Do I have the. Oh, no.
I'm just
actually
inking
thinking
over
that.
it. I'm just inking over it.
Kev, did you just finish that painting behind you or what?
No, I'm still working on it.
Oh yeah, it's
Still
looking
working
good,
on
man.
Thanks, man. I
It
appreciate it.
looks like Kevin wears this certain outfit that actually works with his background.
Yeah, because Pac-Man fits in with the musician playing
With everybody.
piccolo.
Right,
He's like
yeah.
complementary colors.
Oh, okay. You're only going on the colors. I was going on that he's wearing a Pac-Man. Waka 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 waka. Hey, I'm eating Pac-Mans. It looks like.
Waka waka.
Yeah, these are actually plantains, not potato chips.
That's the best. I kill those fucking things.
Not bad.
I'll
As
fucking
Chris
I had a
Walken would
version
say,
of those
good.
over here that are like sweet. They're like sweet and salty. They're pretty good.
Gotcha. Cool.
Coolio.
But so anyway, Anthony, so I this is kind of getting back to something that you had well, I was trying to ask you about. So you'd say like the skeletal version of the process of you making one frame would be, okay, first I'm gonna black and white sketch in pencil on my thumbnail. I'm going to use the text if we have it already, or if you haven't created text yet to describe the frame, you're going to start there and kind of figure it out. And then you're like, okay, now I know the components that I want in it, right?
Right. Like for me, it starts
Cool.
with the writing.
Yeah, makes sense.
The way
That makes
Marvel
sense.
comics have been made for maybe like 40 or 50 years is they don't do it that way. They start with like the art and then they have a plot, but they start with the art and then they write in for the art. That's like a faster way to do it.
Right.
For this, we started with the writing, with the words, and that's kind of how we've been doing issue 1, 2, and now 3. I'm into writing issue number 3. And Kevin's working on issue number 2. This is issue number 1. And so I do the writing first, then the little thumbnail just comes from that. We decide like what's a page, like what can be contained on a page.
Right, because I'm assuming sometimes you're like, well, Anthony or Kevin or whoever's talking, that you're like, we can fit one frame because I want that one to be like big, like we want this the whole thing. And then other times you're like, no, on this one we're gonna have like we're splitting into 3 or split it into this, right? Like you have to kind of that's cool.
It's like if like Kevin wants to highlight something, he always has the option to like do a like a 2-page spread or something. He could take up like 2 pages and just do like a massive piece of art.
Makes sense.
If there's like something really special going on in the
Pivotal.
story or something
like
reveal.
If let's say a spaceship is crashing into the damn planet, you know, you're not going to be like, okay, we could do that in 2 frames and just get out of there, no big deal. And you're like, wait, what? Like, that's a cataclysmic event here. You know, it's not someone tying their shoelaces, son. Like, a spaceship is crashing into the planet. We're going to want to use a few frames, you know. I can see that.
It all depends how like you want to tell the story. Like the last comic we worked on, the guys wanted to tell the story that was more like a movie. And so they came from the movie business, so they wanted to direct the artwork. That's like one way to see it. A lot of people talk about the frames and stuff like through the lens of a movie camera, like a wide shot or a close up. So they use those same terms from like movies.
Of course. Yeah, because we were talking about it before. And then at the very least, you know, with me that I understand that kind of thought process on it. Like I'm even sometimes thinking of that with Diamond Dragons, even though I don't have the ability so far to have implemented it in any particular form, certainly not the book, because you don't tell people about frames in there. And actually you don't even do it in a screenplay. And I won't get into that. But it is good to know, you know, if you're thinking like a filmmaker, to be like, what do I imagine that this scene is actually going to play out like? Like, what kind of shots are we going to have? That kind of, you know, he spins his weapon around and goes like, you know, dramatic. And then maybe the next one's a medium. And then maybe the next one is this thing. And then the next one shows his hand on his weapon holster, you know, and then it twitches next to it, you know, then a shot of someone's foot pivoting in the dirt and before they leap into the air. There's all sorts of weird things that could be going on in your mind. And exactly, to me, your comic books would probably need to unfold in that manner, because that's how you storytell, you know. So that's
right. It's like in this case, it's like me and Kevin as the artist get to direct the story ourselves, which is like I've done storyboards for movies before as well, for certain scenes in movies, not for entire movies. But when there's like an action scene called for, sometimes I get called up to do the storyboarding for the action scene. And it wasn't really like the freedom for me to say, like there was one scene and it was like Busta Rhymes was in this movie. And it was he reaches underneath the bed and he grabs scissors, or the woman he's going for is reaching underneath the bed to grab these scissors to defend herself. But they had like, as the directors, they had their particular idea of each frame. So it was like, okay, no, lower shot from underneath the bed. Okay, the hand's reaching under, grabbing the scissors. No, but we want to see the whole hand. Okay, and then in the next shot, it's like Busta Rhymes is like an upshot of Busta Rhymes.
So wait, just slow down a bit. Did they ask you this before or after, as you kept drawing, and then
this
they kept
like in like a really long meeting of like what they wanted, you know? So it's like a half a day or like a morning meeting.
Wow.
Of like, you know, this going through the scene of like the particulars and stuff like that. So, and I maybe did that on like 2 or 3 different films just for like a couple scenes, and I don't remember getting like too much freedom. Whereas like here, me and Kevin get to decide, like, you know, if I want to do the shot from above or some kind of montage, or I can decide how I want to do that here. So,
and you have more of a chance to make mistakes too. That if you go like, well, I wanted to try and overhead with that, I don't think it works. Let's do this thing, and then you're like, ooh, yeah, I like that better. Let's do that, right?
Yeah, that's happened. You know, there's like whole pages that we scrapped and went at it from like a different angle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely resonate, because again, even with Diamond Dragons, when I'm writing the scenes and I'm envisioning what I want to see, part of the way that you're supposed to write a screenplay is exactly that you're not describing shots in terms of going close up of this, zoom into that. You shouldn't do that, actually. Certainly not in a spec script. In a spec script, in a shooting script, you might do that, but you still need to be thinking, no matter what, how can I make it that when the reader's going through this, that they're almost imagining, you know what I mean? Like, he grabs his weapon isn't as descriptive of saying like his hand, you know, slowly slinks toward his holster, you know what I mean? Then you're like, oh, I'm getting some imagery, but it's not too much. It's not overwhelming. You know, you don't go into this big descriptive thing, but you see what I mean? There's a difference between having a little subtles of things, or it's like the bead of sweat drips off of his face, you know, then people will think, ooh, we're probably going to see a close-up of like what Kevin was just showing with his astronauts, where there was some, you know, something dripping down. So like there's all sorts of ways. And as you guys are probably aware, you can direct a film or a comic book really in any direction you want. If you gave me all your descriptions and we had an entirely different team of artists draw your frames, we'd have a completely different looking thing. It would still be the same story, but directed differently.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And that's not necessarily bad. Like that's how Shakespeare's worked for years. Like think about if you've ever seen Romeo and Juliet, and if you've seen it more than once, chances are that you saw a play with it and it was directed by this with those actors and this, and then maybe somewhere else in a completely different place. And it was not necessarily a completely different story. Certainly not. It's still Romeo and Juliet, but you probably remember being like, man, it was so much different. Like one, the pacing was so fast and it was like, they were all over it. They were, man, it was great. And another one where you're like, it just dragged on and on and on. And it was terrible, you know? So
see, that's why I love where the position I'm in, coming from the reader's perspective instead.
I bet
where,
you do.
You know where Ant and Kev are, you know, because there's something
they have to do all the work.
Well, yeah, I mean they are, you know, and they're busting ass and doing this and that, and there's some things that they can't see or can't, you know, they've got so much on their mind, so much they're thinking about, so much they're doing, and you know, it just is, you know, coming from the perspective of a reader, it gives them just a little bit of like, oh, okay, maybe I should change that kind of something,
right? Maybe,
you know, because they didn't, you know, they catch it, but then they kind of get sidetracked a little bit, you know, and they're gonna go back to it, but then they get sidetracked and don't go back to it, and then somebody like me, you know, comes in and says, hey, you know, I was thinking about this, and well, what do you guys think of that? Oh yeah, we were gonna change that, you know,
Yeah. Kevin, do you think, and this is probably for Anthony too, but like, do you think that throughout the course of Albatross Junction, and then even up to now, and even possibly when you finish, that you'll notice a distinct difference between your art style and like how it's grown or evolved or changed, or even like how a character that you drew, like the first time you drew them to like the 28th time you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So I mean, we're already aware of that. That's why we never start on page 1. Like we say, you know what, we'll just pick up like page 7, 8, 9, then go to page 1 when we're like in the groove. You know what I mean?
Kind of just go around.
Yeah.
No, I like that because then that prevents you from worrying about the whole like, dude, we drew.
Yeah.
We're kind of hiding it, right?
Yeah. We don't want the progression from 1 to 30 to be so obvious.
Well, there's that too. That's
well, yeah, but that's also good, because do you think that if you had gone that route, do you think it maybe kind of would stump some of that creativity?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. Because I think we have the story down, so we know what we're trying to say. It's just we just want to make sure that our lines are as tight as they can be when you're introduced to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, so what I think Kevin is hinting to, unless I'm misinterpreting it too, is think about this, Mundo, is you want to you know, they say first impressions.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So you want to lead with like if they could, maybe their very first frame. I'm not saying that this is their attitude on it, but I'm sure it is, only just because I know they're smart and I feel like I am. But my point is this: you would put the most effort into your first frame if you possibly could. And people might say, well, why is that? But I work so hard. And what about all those other ones? And the ending is so important. I'm like, sure, the ending's important. But if you don't grab them right from the beginning and really give them your best 10 moves, they're going to maybe check out.
Yeah, that establishing shot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes you have more control over that than others. Like even with me, with the Diamond Dragon screenplay, I wanted to get the pre-visualization done, not only for myself, but because I wanted to get interest. You know, but that said, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I wanted to get it out there so people could go like, oh, so this is what it's going to be like about, you know, and I wish that I had like the enormous resources than it would have taken to have that done like at the level I would prefer it to be at. You see what I mean? But doing it basically for free is basically how I had to do it. Duh. I think I did okay. But all things being equal, I wish I was in the position that Kevin and Anthony are, which they draw. So like they could be like they're doing. They're like, we have full control over the first frame we're going to show people in this book. Like we don't have to draw that frame until we want to, and if we draw it and we don't like it, it's going in the drafts bag.
Yeah. And that's
awesome. Wrong with my assessment, Kev or Anthony, or you like you are spot on?
That's it.
Yeah, because like it kind of stems from our training with graphic design, where you put your best work in your portfolio like first, middle, and last.
There you go.
So it's like you kick it off with something excellent. That's your best work, right? And then maybe you lose them for a couple pieces, but then in the middle you grab them back again.
Bam. And then you pepper it with a few, and then you're
maybe
like,
you have a couple others just to show like your range. And then you finish it off with like a 1 or 2 just killer pieces, so that, and then you don't show too much as well. So like it's like, you know, when you're showing headshots, probably it's, you know, I don't know how many you get to show, but it's like it might be the same concept where it's like you want to show like your best 3, or maybe if they allow you to show 10, and you might want to show it in this way where they say about 10 pieces in your portfolio is a nice amount, because you get to show,
otherwise you overwhelm them. I can almost
nice
echo that
range.
I'll put it to you this way: is like, so when I was bringing aboard vocal artists, I wanted to look at, you know, some of their clips. I'd go on the sites or whatever, just say, send me some clips. So if it's too much, like, you know, I remember one person who was auditioning, they sent me a 2-hour video.
No.
And I was like, wow, like you have a 2-hour, and I don't understand what it was exactly. I'm not going to get involved in telling you guys all about it, and I don't remember it that well. But I was like, wow, they expect me to sift through 2 hours. I mean, it'd be one thing if they were like, these are my best friends and they're asking a favor and they said, will you look through this? I'm like, no, it was just saying, I'm like, you know, I need an audition. I want some voices for this. And then it's like, okay, I have to look through 2 hours of stuff. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm sure, you know, Anthony, like, right, if you put on your website like 100% of everything you've ever done ever, it's just overwhelming.
Kevin said I reminded him of this one character in a Forgetting Sarah Marshall movie, where they give him the CD to kind of review. It's like some music CD, and it's like a sample of his work. And then about a year later, whatever it is, he meets up with the guy. He says, hey, did you ever listen to my CD? And the guy goes, no, I just went on living my life.
I just went on living my life. That's funny.
Just went on living my life.
All right.
So that guy didn't bother to listen to the sample either.
Yeah, it's hard. And another thing is, then there's also the problem of slow burners, or I don't want to call it slow burners, but more like things that require development. You know, like it's one thing if you start a scene where you're like cafe, you know, 2 gangsters chatting over the next hit. You're like, done, got it, I know. But like when I'm trying to set up this story with dragons and stuff, or for you guys with space, you're like, you know, they're not going to know exactly what's going on. They need to be slowly taken down the slippery slope into Albatross Junction, literally, you know what I mean? Like the world, the gravity of the situation. And I mean, both in emotional and psychological sense, but also physically, like maybe on the planet on which they go to, the gravity is different than Earth's, so that everybody who's their brains are around, like, how can he jump so high? You're like, so gravity here is basically 0.7 compared to Earth. Like it's a 0.7 G. Do you have any idea what that would be? You know, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that. Do you see what I mean? Is you have to kind of immerse them in that. So it takes longer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like if your people were just people, like none of this technology, none of this other planet stuff, boys. We want to see they only got guns or swords and knives, and that's it, man. No, none of this newfangled sci-fi stuff. Like then you wouldn't have to explain anything, because everything is sort of like already known in our world. So yeah, world building. That's why I think also Anthony and Kevin and I, we all relate, even though Diamond Dragons is not sci-fi to a certain extent. But the point being is that world building is just that. It takes a build. You have to have a foundation and then build from there. And no one can engage in that if they read 2 pages and quit. They're not
right. I loved that aspect of Game of Thrones when I saw it on the screen. That this world kind of came to life slowly and step by step, and it wasn't like 1, 5, 3, 2. It was like it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like the cadence was just, it can't unravel any other way. It can't unfurl any other way.
Right.
And I kind of learned from that show, from that type of like writing style. And then I went to the books and listened to the audiobooks like 2 times over, and just like really realized that the way that I wanted my story to unfurl was this similar way of like coming out step by step, and the basically the first like the first 8 issues of Albatross Junction are kind of a mini series setting up the world. So you're going to learn about the world, and each volume is 2 issues. So volume 1 is issues 1 and 2, and volume 2 will be issues 3 and 4. And once we get through the end of the mini series, I think the world to be like fully established, we're actually going to have some new characters to play with that are going to be long standing there for like 200 issues.
Right. And that's the thing, is if you know your that's another thing I was trying to tell a lot of people out there, is if you know your ending, then you can begin.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not dropping that one for nothing.
I have to thank all of you guys, because I am learning so much from listening to what you guys are saying, doing, and showing. I mean, the appreciation is at the next level, because
well, we love you, Mundo. You're dope.
Before I was a comic book, I was a comic book collector for a long time, but I never understood what it took for,
and you shouldn't. It's the tip on the iceberg.
The writers, but see, therein comes the more appreciation for the art, more appreciation for the different comics that I've collected over the years. Not only with Stan Lee being the man behind Marvel, but it takes the art to the next level, because when you understand, when you understand what the person or people have gone through to make that happen, and the scenarios, the synopsis, the thought processes, the drawing, the skill sets. I mean, everything that comes in together, and especially with Diamond Dragons, everything that comes together in synergy and in sync with everything that you do, everything you say, everything that you put your heart and soul into, it really makes me appreciate that much more. And I'm not just I'm not just saying this because I'm a part of this, but for
I know what you're saying, Mundo. Yeah, we're not thinking you're just like, oh, I'll just say this for no reason. But like, the point is, yeah, you're definitely making us aware that some people can actually, by immersing themselves a little further, they learn to appreciate it on a level that they didn't before. Because again, not to bring another quote that I'm always talking about, but just because you don't see something doesn't mean it isn't there. That's
exactly.
super important in life, is that people lack all this. I have a quick question though that I'm sorry, Mundo, I had to ask them. You'll like this question though, right? Anthony and Kevin, have you guys done any Easter eggs and kind of secret, interesting things that might be on certain frames or whatever?
I mean, yeah, we have a lot of like foreshadowing that I don't think anyone would catch until like they've till things unraveled, then they'll look back like, shit, like it's right there. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but I'm saying this is like, I'm talking about like, even like you could hide one of your names.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Y'all got to start doing that. You know,
we've actually done a little game where we put
lightsabers. That's about it.
In
you need to do more.
I'm gonna be looking for those.
And if you find them all, you actually win a lightsaber. The first one to find them all. So that's one thing that we're doing.
Because check it out. Here's an idea that I wanted to do with something in Diamond Dragons. I don't mind revealing this. I shouldn't be stupid and just like not say it. especially want to get your guys' thoughts, because I appreciate all y'all. Actually, you're my favorite people on earth right now because of the.
Same here.
Oh, thanks, Muda. Right on, man. Right on. You guys are my brothers. But my point is this: is that like I need to bounce more stuff off of people, but I have to be careful because I don't want to ruin things, even for my own really good friends. Because I'm like, oh, some of these stories, I want them to experience it and then be like, oh. But here's the thing: there's going to be. How do I not ruin this? There's going to be a battle between two dragons. We'll call it. That's good enough. And it's going to be sort of a battle of some physical skills, yes, but the point is then it'll be like spell casting, and what's going to happen is essentially they have to be quick, and it's sort of like one needs to cancel the others out, and they're doing it at a hyper fast rate. So it's like this happens, that happens, this, and then I'm guaranteeing it for audiences, and especially when this comes, you guys got to think about this too. This is a good idea. You should use this idea too. Like, I'm not saying, oh, don't copy my idea. It's a great idea on its own. People will be pre-guaranteed those two characters are going to meet, and one of them is not going to make it.
We'll Sounds like a Dragon Ball Z.
What do you mean by that? The two characters are going to meet.
You're going to at one point, and I don't mean you guys, but take it for what you will. Like, I'm talking about my own characters, but because you guys could do whatever you want, you could not do it. But I want to be able to make these characters available enough to audiences that if I get enough growth, one day I'm going to say, oh, by the way, these two characters are going to have a fight, and they'll be like, well, we expected it. And I'm like, yeah, but you're going to bet on one, who you think's going to win, and two, most importantly, in fact, way more important than who's going to win, the order in which certain spells or things or techniques are layered upon each other so that one wins and the other does not. Do you see what I'm getting at? And then the point is they could bet that, and then I'd be like, you're going to find out how it rolls out. It because some people might say, well, wait, are you betting to say who gets the choice to it? I'm like, kinda, not really, but kinda. The point is, like, I'm going to, by that point, have a certain system. There's already a system in place with magic happening and so on, so that they're going to have to realize, like, oh, what do I think? Oh, I think this character is going to start off with this. They're going to do that. Oh, really? Well, what do you think they'll counter with? I'm pretty sure that this character, given that they do this, I bet they would use this. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I someone said it's like Dragon Ball Z.
TK says his lips are sealed.
Literally, right from the surgery, right? But I thought you're a cyborg, so you can communicate, with microchips
through the computer, right?
Yeah,
he'll send you an email through his head,
Now, I'm being somewhat facetious and joking. Like, I'm not saying that the idea itself is new in terms of having spellcasting. Like, we see that in not only Dragon Ball Z, but like,
Willow.
What is it? Or a wild.
I just rewatched Willow. Willow was the shit.
There you go. I agree. It was a dope movie, but right, like, what is it? A wild Mundo appears.
So shit. Now I need to grow my hair out and be wild.
You gotta, what is it they call evolve? So I don't know about all that stuff that well, but that's not the point. The point is, how fun would that be? Like, for example, and again, this is what I'm trying to relate it to. That's why I'm saying the idea itself is nothing. Anybody could do this. It's already been done, but applying it. So, like, what if someone had said, look, y'all know Luke's going to face Kylo. Who do you think is going to win? And what do you think the powers and how is it going to all play out? And again, if some people say, oh, well, we don't know about that. I'm saying,
got you. He never faced him.
But you see what I mean? No, that's kind of a cool thing, is what they could do is say, under the Star Wars universe or whatever, that of all these techniques and things, what do you think is going to happen in that fight? And then the irony is, my point is, I'm going to try to be telling them that I'm like, they're going to use a bunch of techniques against each other. Like, it's not just going to be like, oh, he punches him and he's dead and that's it, or whatever. It's not going to be super esoteric. I'm like, they're going to have just a straight up battle. Like, it's not going to be super fancy. It's not going to be like he uses a secret, like, and plot device. I'm like, they're going to use techniques that I've shown you throughout the stories that they have. What do you think is going to happen? And see if they, get it or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it would be a fun thing to do. But that's if I even grow an audience, So,
well, you have one audience member.
No, I appreciate it, Mundo. But you know what I'm trying to say is like,
but you also have 2 books sold already. You know
I
that.
don't have any books sold. What are you talking about?
No, you do, because when they come out,
I know what you're saying. Though. I appreciate it.
I'm getting one, and actually my niece is so interested in dragons that she asked me, "Hey, you think you're gonna get me a copy?"
How old is he? Is she though?
She's 16.
Oh, good. Okay, because I was going to say, ironically, because some people might think, oh, well, what's the age range? It's dragons, so obviously 8-year-olds and stuff. And I'd be like, 8, 9-year-olds might not understand it, but I think 10, 11, 12, and then anywhere above that, I would say we're probably, although some astute, very smart young people, probably somewhere, and is certainly with, you know, hey, Jimmy, I'm going to read you Diamond Dragons because it's dope. Just like I'm literally reading Harry Potter to my daughter often enough, you know, and Harry Potter is certainly beyond her right now because she's 6.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, by me reading, yeah, exactly.
No, but she's very enthralled with dragons, and so when she heard about, you know, me talking to you and stuff, she's like, her whole face just kind of lit up. Dragons.
Oh, that's wonderful, Mundo.
You know,
I got to do something nice for her. I'll figure out whatever I can do. I mean, that's the problem. I'm unfortunately extremely limited right now on any kind of financial situation, but which has always been my case. So
no. But when they come out, man,
yeah,
you let me know, you know, what I need to send you to.
Well, just
you know,
just buy one and then we'll figure it out. Like, you know, the other one, or I don't know, I'll reimburse you the second one. Like, we got to do something nice. For you.
Come on.
My point is, it'll be great, but the point is, yeah, I'll be excited one day when people actually see and they're like, oh dang, I thought it was just going to be a bunch of dragons and that's all they did is fight and it was just going to be this nonsense. I'm like, wait till you read how spiritually connected all of it is, like in the sense of it's going to move you emotionally. It's going to take your soul and kind of go in some places, and then other times it's going to uplift your soul, and then other times it's going to go goodbye.
And I can't wait because
what does it do for people like what does it do to people that have sold their soul?
Well, I would say then they'll appreciate the villain and the certain aspects of the dark side to a point. You know,
these dragons are awesome, dude. Yep,
TK, right on. Yeah, you got to check it out.
I agree, man. I agree. I love dragons myself, man. I actually go. It was one of my little pastimes here. Is I actually go through Pinterest and look for dragon art.
Yeah, I'm on some groups where that kind of stuff is abounding, and you know, I love it. I think it's really interesting, and I totally agree with you. Like, it's cool because it can be inspirational, and then for me, it's helped to get sort of an idea of like, well, what do I think this character sort of looks like? You know, because I've had some designers actually do some artwork for me, and then in other cases, I don't even have anything. I don't have the resources and the connections to get the right people to draw it. And you know, Anthony and Kevin are bloody busy, so obviously I would say please draw dragons, but I'm like, I think they're a little busy right now.
Yeah, my niece, she loved the picture. I actually showed her the cover that you sent me.
Oh, and the cover is
and she
I worked hard
loved
on that
it.
With the designers,
but she loved the dragon.
I'll give you a hint
skeleton, the dragon skeleton.
Yeah, right. And then the logo.
That.
I'll give you a hint. This is why also with the claws thing. Think about it.
Yeah.
The design. Do you remember what I was telling you about it?
Yeah.
So like this is like an empty, and think of it like an empty moon, let's say, or an empty circle.
Right.
And this would be what? More of a
the full.
Yeah. What do you see?
The dragon
sun and moon.
Sun and moon.
You guys are getting my drift. And what do you see when it goes sideways? That it's 2 circles.
Yeah. Right? The yin and yang.
And the infinity symbol.
Infinity. Yeah. So
I'm not dropping hints or anything.
No. But I mean, just coming from a young person that likes dragons, man, she really enjoyed the cover. So just to let you know that she and she likes to draw and stuff too, but that was something that I've never seen her appreciate, you know?
Yeah, I mean, put it this way, I believe that the primary age range, not to say that this is the finite age range, but the primary age range will probably be 14 to 45. I'll go with that. Maybe
that's
not.
above my mental age
young
range.
adult.
My mental rage is about 12.
Your mental rage?
No, it's funny you mentioned that because I feel like the way that I've written it, just wait, just like all I can tell you guys with the way that I've written it is even crazy.
I'm gonna have Mundo read it to me.
Yeah, you could do that. Well, hell, I'll come on here.
Oh my
I'll come on anytime and read a few chapters.
Yo, fellas, I'm gonna back out of here, man. I still got family over, and I'm keeping them up.
No,
Okay, let's see what you got real quick before we
let's get some love in the house for Kev. Look at all this.
Yeah, look at that.
Looking pretty good.
Oh, dude, that's badass, dude. What do you mean pretty good? It's badass.
Good,
Come
good.
on.
I love how it's that kind of, you know what it reminds me of is like that music's going to be played when this is happening. You know what I mean? Like
maybe I hear the Interstellar sound.
Can you the detail coming out on this?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, Kevin, it is crisp.
I think I like Mackenzie the most.
Yeah. I try.
The third guy.
I try to make him the cleanest on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's
cool.
crisp. It looks real good, man.
Yeah.
Dude, you got them.
Raise it up really quick again, or Kevin, so that we can see the bottom frame. See, like, and then look at how it's like, what the hell, man? I mean,
Yeah,
like,
this guy got it bad.
Vertigo. This is what I mean. This is giving you vertigo on purpose. Like, it's a great design because you're like, oh my god, look what's below them, and oh my god, is he falling? Is he dying? Are they going to catch him? Is he going to? What's happening?
He's screwed. No, he's screwed.
Well, do you see what I mean? Is like
that's the
just in one frame. If you don't know the story, you're already looking at that, going like, ah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
All right, Kev. Thanks so much.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
fellas.
Have a good night, amigo.
All right, Yakila.
You killer.
Go some killers.
All right, y'all. Have a good weekend, man. I'll see y'all next week.
Peace
Yeah, man.
Later on.
Boom. Yeah, I should probably bounce too soon, and I'm sure Anthony.
Yeah, we're gonna
triple
roll out
win
here. Maybe I'll just show the campaign one more time. We have our Albatross Junction Indiegogo campaign. It is live on Indiegogo. There it is. In the description of this video, you can see the link, and I'll also put it in the comments when we're done. You could check out some links to Matthew's work, Diamond Dragons, as well in the description. Mundo, do you got anything you want to say before we roll out?
I got mine coming from Indiegogo. Make sure you get yours. Like and subscribe both to Matthew and Anthony and Kevin. And you guys come and hang out with us here, Mondays and Wednesdays. Come have a drink with us at El Mundo's.
El Mundo's it's got a good menu, man, and we all need it thanks to the COVID-19 thing. So come on, y'all know you could be supporting the Albatross Junction.
Right here, guys. Right.
Hey, right. It happens in space too. So like, what better place to get away from COVID-19 than space? COVID-19's not following us to space. I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah,
even this bottle has the same like Albatross Junction color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I noticed that last time. I didn't mention it, but I was like, at first when you first like while it was coming into frame, I was like, oh my god, did he have these tchotchkes built as well as the shirts and stuff? And I was like, oh, it says Indiegogo. Wait,
I wanted to get matchbooks made. Like I want to get matchbooks made with that art that Mundo's got on his shirt there. I think that would be cool.
And again, Space, before we all go, I need to thank you so much for sending me this because it's like really awesome, and it's just like I showed it off all day today because I was so proud. I said, look, you guys can't believe that my friends who are the creators of Albatross Junction, they send me this, and I tell you,
we're gonna send you guys this one too.
This
is sweet
t-shirt.
Yeah, I see, and then I can wear it. I can wear it on one of the diamond discussions because when I do those, I was telling you guys, because normally I wear, I don't know, whatever the hell I wear. I don't even have a dragon thing, unfortunately. I don't know if I ever will, but I mean, I would definitely be able to do that because I could be like, hey there, guys, it's me, Diamond Discussions. As by the way, you can see my new sweat. Like, it's all good. Like, I would love to do that. I could do it on several videos too because I've got like 20 coming. You know,
awesome.
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
I saw one of your interviews with that lady, man. That was pretty good.
that lady. There were several ladies.
Well, one. Okay, I apologize. I apologize.
Well, no,
it was the lady that like the coach for writers and so forth.
Pagan, probably. That was probably Pagan.
Yes, I think that was her name.
Thelma, I thought you were over at the Brown Derby with Trixie. No, Teresa.
Margaret, yeah.
Margaret, exactly. What happened to Margaret?
So yeah, that was a really cool interview, man. You were sporting the jacket and all that good stuff, man. But it was a good interview because
I'm about to watch the one with Adam. I haven't paused at the beginning. Yeah.
No, it's great. Take your time.
I saw Adam Sartain was on there. He was he was one of our guests that came on. And we reviewed comic book Space Command.
That's right.
And I wanted to see Matthew interview Adam. So I'm checking that one out. I think it's number 7, if I'm not mistaken.
It was the last one that I just posted too. So yeah, and then the next one I'm doing is Margaret Wiermanski. But there's a whole bunch of people. Like, what people don't understand is I'm only releasing these once a week, and I don't want to hold you guys up here because it's getting late. But the point is, like I have 20 plus total. They're all recorded, but it's like I'm only releasing them once a week, and I only have time to edit like once a week because I have to go back to writing and I'm doing my other things. So I don't know how some of the people do it. Like, I don't know how you guys try to make this happen twice a week. Like, oh my God.
I know. I can't believe it either. I mean, space is so busy. Space is so busy.
It's actually one way I can corral both myself and Kevin that we can, get a few hours and draw together. Otherwise, that wouldn't happen. Like,
if you're not on camera, it didn't happen.
Right. Like, well, if we didn't have that appointment, I don't think that would happen as much. So that's really cool thing that's like sort of a happy side effect that it's like
discipline and
cornered, I'm cornered.
By proxy. Discipline and consistency by proxy. I like it, right? Because that forces you to have to work at it every week, and that's what I would do with Diamond Dragons every day.
Yeah.
Ruling, just like you already feel that you're like, oh, and then I got to work, and then I got to do this, and oh, I'm building sabers, and oh my God, I have to do this. Damn it, I need to get back.
That's the only pull that takes me from different things like my day job or making lightsabers takes me away from Albatross. The cool thing is I have my desk right, as you can see, like right in the middle of all the saber stuff too. So sometimes I do have an hour or two, and I sit down and I could draw.
Right.
And that's kind of cool too. But it's another one, like all my hobbies, all my passions are those types that you lose yourself with the time.
Yeah.
So that's the weird thing too, is like you sit down and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then 3 or 4 hours went by.
Actually, I was just watching another dude's video on this about how that's a little bit, and this isn't a bad thing too. I'm just talking about people learning about people's different, mental situations or whatever. It's like a little ADHD and like that you're become so involved and immersed that then you look up at the clock and you're like, 8 hours? 8 hours? You gotta be kidding me. That's impossible. And then you think about it and you're like, I'll be damned. I've time.
That's how long it takes.
But you don't realize it because you're like so busy, like, okay, blah, blah,
that's the focus.
This, that, the other. And you're like, boom, drink a little. And then you're like,
well, I think that's the only way that happens these days is if you put your phone, like what I've been doing the past couple of weeks, like I put my phone in the other room, like charging or whatever. Because if I let that with the dinging and the bing going off, I keep looking at it, or the next thing I know, I'm on Instagram, and then I'm creating Instagram posts and stuff like that. And the next thing I know is like, that thing I was trying to get done by, let's say 3 o'clock didn't happen because I'm on Instagram. I brought the phone into the bathroom. It's like what am I doing?
When we come back another time, I'm gonna have to retell you guys about that stalker story.
Oh yeah,
I haven't get to read it yet.
It's just whatever
I started reading it, and it was like the guy was going back and forth from like actually being polite and being friendly to like then he would dig in you and say, you know what, you're kind of crappy at this, and then he'd be like, but you know what, I wish you a lot of luck. And, and as long as you just correct these 1 or 2 things, I think you'll be fine.
I'm like, thank you. God. I appreciate that. I'm glad you know me better than I do.
And he did take the time to write a really
well, and remember,
really in-depth thing.
He just met me. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, it was a post I made on a Facebook group, and I'd already remember you were talking about moving on with your life. I had done that because it was, I don't think I even spent.
It was a moment in time.
Yeah, I didn't spend more than 5 seconds posting it, or 10 seconds, whatever. And then he proceeded to write 6 pages, and then I think he even noted at the bottom of it, he's like, "Wow, 30 minutes later, boy, ha ha ha." And I was like, "Yeah." Ha,
Well,
ha,
I liked at the end. He said, "I didn't check it for spelling errors, so I'm just sending it as is." And I was thinking, well, that he did take the time to write a lot. But he didn't want to take the extra time to proofread it, he said, but just funny.
It's one of those what we call conundrum, right? Where it was really important to him to send this to me, but not important for the yes, that's right, TK. And also TK, shout out to get it on a better subject. TK, I'm thank you for saying too, like, from he had a quote earlier. TK was saying how much he appreciated Albatross Junction and everything, and I'm like,
oh, awesome, thank you, TK.
Yeah. So it's totally cool.
We appreciate TK. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, but just to go back to
TK,
that,
man.
One day we should talk about the idea that when there are people who are haters or stalkers, or they're overly critical about all works out there, and I feel like that's a big conversation to have, because I feel like maybe a lot of people would actually be engaged in a lot of different interesting things that could change their life, but they don't, because when they read the first 5 pages or they experience a movie for the first 5 minutes, they quit. And you're like, really? How do you know? You didn't really even watch it that much. You didn't really even experience it that much. How do you know you don't like this thing yet? It's a little bit, it's not like tasting, a drink and going, I don't like it. You're like, this is a piece of art that might unfold like layers of an onion, if you're.
There we go. Well, that's a good place to end it. And thank you guys for being on the show tonight. We'll do it again on Monday for Mundo Monday. We'll still be drawing Albatross Junction. Go check it out on Indiegogo. And in the meantime, have a great rest of the week.
You too, guys.
Peace out, guys.